title of this song is what you think about Jesus. One who died on the cross, that none should be lost. What do you think about Jesus?
Oh, he's all right. Oh, he's all right.
Welcome everybody to another beatboxing podcast, broadcasting to you live from the true north. Hey, it's your good friend Mr. BDA, and I sure am glad everybody could drop by for this one, fellas. We've got a double punch Sunday for everybody on this holiest of Sundays, indeed. We're gonna be doing a beatboxing episode here, of course talking about boxing and all that happened last night. It was too much boxing for my fragile disposition, I'll tell you that much right now. But it was indeed a fantastic night of boxing. We're going to talk about that. And then in about 2 hours, we're going to be moving over to Rumble for a special Second Renaissance episode. We're going to be doing a Passion of the Christ retrospective. That's right. Second Renaissance Passion of the Christ retrospective was one of the most controversial and unique movies ever made. And some people didn't want it to take, for it to be released. Why? What was so controversial about the movie? We're going to be talking about all that plus more over there on Rumble. So, video boxing here. And about 2 hours, we're going to be moving on over to Rumble for a Second Renaissance episode. So, it is a long Sunday that we've got ahead of us here. Get your popcorn, get your coffee, whatever, your beverage of choice. Because it's going to be a long one. In fact, full disclosure, I might have to drink coffee for the first time in years. Just to get through all of this. So shout out to everybody out there. Before we get out to all of that, of course, we got to get the business out of the way. You can check us out on iTunes, Spotify, Spreaker, the whole shebang. If you want to donate a couple of shekels our way, you're certainly welcome to do so with the super chat. Of course, it's always better if you join the membership program. That way you get more bang for your buck. But the most important thing is that you continue to like and subscribe and listening to the show. And speaking of people listening, I'm glad to have you all on board here. And let's give a shout out to the Straight G Turo in there. Larry Liston, Team Batman Boxing. Alan R says, Jesus is God in the flesh. That's right. He knows what's up. Shout out to Danny. Shout out to Larry Liston. El Único Cocho in the house as well. Raised. Jesus M. Or maybe that's Jesus M. Brown Mexican. I got my Jesus on my mind today. What do you want from me? SSC. Plutonium Loach. Uncle Burnt Apostrophe. Official scorecard in the house. The Quags as well in there. Shout out to the Quags. How many more people to come? I'm sure. Fellas, thank you for joining us. All right. So let's get down to this boxing thing. Let me invite a couple of people here. Start a party going. Or get a party going, that is. Boxing Chief Ken joined us, though. He's celebrating Easter with his family. I don't know what that's about. Never heard of that. Celebrating Easter with your family. But anyway, listen, everybody does it differently. I mean, what do you want from me? Some people celebrate Christmas with their families. Some people don't. Some people don't even celebrate Christmas. What do you think about that? That's the big bozo no-no in my eyes. Hold on a second. I'm inviting people here. And I forget to invite Recognize too sometimes since he's been away for so long. All right. So we're gonna be talking about all of the cards. We had ESPN, we had Showtime, and we had the Zone. And of course, people forget that Kenshiro Teraji fought last night. Well, not last night, last morning in Japan. That was also on ESPN, but it kind of flew over under the radar. All right, I see we got the Jim Marino here. Jimster, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Jimmy, all right, fantastic. Thank you for being on board. Always appreciate it. Listen, there was so much boxing last night. I don't even know what to start with. There were upsets. There were slugfests. You pick which fight you want to talk about first.
What's that, brother? You checked out for 1 second.
I said there was just too much boxing to talk about, so I'm gonna let you pick which fight you want to talk about first.
Do you want to do the upset? The Fundora upset?
Well, yeah, there were two upsets last night. Yeah.
Yeah, there was a couple. Well, he got lazy. He was up on, I believe, 6 on every judge. He won the first 6 rounds. But when you start beating people up, you kind of get that, like, I don't know. I felt like, obviously, he just, the move he made was dumb. You don't throw uppercuts from far away. Like, that's the worst possible thing you can possibly do, especially a kid whose only chance to beat you is catch you with a shot. And he did, but it wasn't even the shot that he probably would have survived that first shot. Probably would have went down, got a standing 8. It was the 2 follow-up shots by that kid was nice and ended him right there. But there was a way he was just sitting and talking, and my judge is counting, and he sits up like he's paying attention to the judge. Yeah, what are you doing? So what's going on with you? You know what I mean? He was so casual about it. But yeah, no, he was out fucking cold. But that's not good for the PBC, man. They're down to like pretty much Stephen Fulton now. Because if and when they do make the Spence fight, I believe he's going to get fucking pounded by Crawford. But I mean, and then Jason Lee was on that. I mean, Lee, the Korean kid, I just always thought he was overrated.
One at a time, Jimmy.
I know. It's just I'm thinking about the whole card. It was so much boxing last night. But yeah, no, Fundora was pounding on that kid. He was gonna beat him like everybody thought he would, and just got lazy.
Hey, by the way,
gracious in his defeat. I got to give him credit there, but yeah.
See, you said pounding on, which is grammatically correct. Earlier, you said that Crawford's gonna pound Spence. So if you say pound on, that's good. If you just say pound, makes it sound like Crawford's gonna ass fuck Spence. So I'm just telling you because
after all that shit he talked.
Wait a minute. Where's this going? It's a Sunday, Jimmy. It's a Sunday episode. Come on. But listen, Fundora, that's exactly what you said. That's a boxing 101. You don't lead with uppercuts. But his last fight was against Ocampo. He was a sloppy fight. He was getting hit with shots. He didn't care because he was landing his own. But he couldn't really get the proper. It's interesting. Margarito was a guy that was long for his weight, and he was throwing wide uppercuts and hooks and with power. This guy, he really doesn't do that well on the outside. It's mostly real up close with little short shots. He was fucking Mendoza up. And I think partly that's why he got complacent on top of everything else, because he was beating him up on the inside. So he said, hey, I can just, it's just a matter of time. And he led with an uppercut and boom, big left hook.
It's like, boxing 101. You always lead with your jab. You know what I mean? Come in with something different. Know your spacing. And that was what caught him with. He got put down by when he was had that war with the kid, the other kid from the
Lubin.
What was his name? I can't remember. What's that?
Lubin.
Eric Lubin. Thanks, guys. But yeah, same thing there. When he got put down, it was because he shot from the outside. And the thing is, too, man, if he actually used his size at 6'5", 80-inch reach for a junior middleweight is like, I've never seen anything like that. And if he's got the power to knock people out, but you put yourself in that position to get dropped is just so brutal. But it's just cost him millions of dollars, because now, think about it. They were talking about him fighting all these, big fights. Now he's Did he? Was he a champion? No, because obviously not. He has a junior title, whatever. Because Charlo is the undisputed, unified undisputed. So yeah, they would talk about him next, facing Charlo. So that kind of bumps him back out of the picture. But yeah, no, it's just really crazy. I can't believe how lazy he got with that. On a kid that the only chance that dude had to beat you was that, and you gave it to him.
That's right.
So that was a real bad mistake. But yeah, that's my take on him.
That's a real good left hook by Ryan Mendoza. Jimmy. I mean, the guy he's only lost twice. And it was a split decision against the guy that fought last week, Moro Ramos, and against some other guy with 10 fights and like 1 loss. And he's never been knocked out, so this guy might be underrated. He looks like he works hard in the gym. Nobody gave 2 cents for him. La Bala Mendoza, yeah. Lubin, this guy, what's it? The Tower Inferno, what's his name? Fundora. Yeah, he gets too trigger happy with the hooks. Basically, he got found out for who he was. He gets too trigger happy with the hooks, throws too many hooks. And that's basically like the only punches he's got, the hooks with both hands. And it's a game of inches for a top fighter that doesn't use that distance. Hey, there's a lot of spacing between those arms, and it works both ways. You can have that advantage on the outside from the inside. Hey, that space can be exploited by the shorter man. The shorter man's always got the advantage, I believe, to punch in between your punches. And then I don't think it's only that he got lazy. It's just everybody gets tired. And when you're throwing them lumb levers back and forth, hey, the rate of return between your punches and the guy with the shorter hands is going to catch you in between the space in your long ass arms.
Exactly.
And so the dude only throws he basically throws only hook. And fucking Bala Mendoza, tough dude, a grinder, caught his ass, boom. And the second punch, you see, this is like the saying: the taller they are, the harder they fall. When he got buckled, by the time he buckled, he straightened his body up to raise his knees up and straighten his body up. That took a little fraction of a second too long. That dude
Exactly.
closed the space and caught him and put him out. That's why.
It's very fitting that we had David toppling Goliath the day before Easter. I mean, just that the religious implications are just flying all over the place right now for me. But it's true. That big, long, body of his, he had to bring it up, and he was all not concussed, but buzzed, obviously. And good luck trying to raise all that foundation up. But it's also, listen, this guy should have kept it simple, straight shots. And if you get real up close, then you throw your uppercuts. But no, he got lazy. And there were, I didn't call the upset. I didn't call it. But I did ask people, anyone else feeling the upset on the Discord last night? Because I had a feeling this guy could get caught with a big shot, because like Gonzalo said, through those long arms of his. And it just so happened that, I think, listen, Mendoza could be better than most people give him credit for. But Fundora had beaten Lubin, guys like Nathaniel Gallimore. Who else am I missing here? There was another guy that he'd beaten up before. But, I mean...
He retired Jason Rosario.
Mendoza did, yeah, Mendoza.
The banana, his last fight, he knocked him out, and that guy retired from boxing after that one.
But I was talking about Fundora, though. Fundora, the fact that he didn't look all that great against that Spanish guy. What was the guy's name? He fought Garcia. Sergio Garcia, thank you.
He listened to the fans because everybody complained that he was boring because he used his length. He jabbed, and it was like coming off that Lubin fight. And then you do that. And again, this is all a side effect of not fighting enough.
That's right.
You know what I mean? You get ring rust, and those are the mistakes you make when you're not plying your craft enough. And that's what happens.
Yeah,
but it was those two final shots that really were nice, though. It wasn't just the one shot that caught him. He was very accurate with the 2 shots. It was the bang, bang. Dizzied him. He was going down with the first one, but put his lights out with the follow-ups.
Yeah, that's where you can tell he's got eye problems too, because he wears like Coke bottles for glasses. He was in a haze, but you could tell he gets tunnel vision. He can't focus where the opponent is at because he's half blind, like his sister. They don't usually just like regular, like little old glasses. They're fucking Coke bottles. The dude's like half blind.
Are you saying he's like Mr. Magoo in there or something? That he's so tall that you know what? Maybe that's it. He grew to be so tall, but it took away from his eyesight. Like nature, God gives, God takes. Maybe that's what he did with this guy. He made him so tall, but he took away his eyesight. No, but you're right though. It's it's even if he doesn't have bad eyesight, the fact that he's so tall and that he has to be looking down so much at his opponents. That's got to create. And listen, when you're fighting a tall guy, that's the best thing you can do. You get low, you make him open wide with those big shots of his, and you catch him in between. And he's got a little pencil neck, so he doesn't have that great a chin either. So, I mean, that couldn't have helped.
The only reason he's real dangerous with those hooks, I believe, is because he's so tall. Like he's basically throwing like body shots, and he's hitting you with they're basically uppercuts. So like the ceiling for his punch to push past your fucking head is like right there in the sweet spot where he can punch and elevate, carry that power up against a shorter sitting target. So your head is right there for the pickings. Like he can push past your head with a lot of power. But that's the only punch he's throwing. He's getting too trigger happy with the fucking 2 punches.
Yep.
I said
You're absolutely right there.
Oh, sorry, dude. I was just agreeing. I was talking out loud. Sorry.
No, well, I mean, he's right on the money with that one. And I got to tell you, from here on out, like Jimmy said, with the PBC now, they needed a guy like Fundora, undefeated guy who could crack a little bit. Because look, listen, Charlo's probably going to get a tune-up now, or he's going to need a tune-up before the fight with Tim Tszyu. Tim Tszyu already said he's going to have another fight before he takes on Charlo. So you got those two guys. But Fundora was the guy that they had in the back pocket. It's like, all right, maybe we can make the winner of that fight with this guy, and that's gone. I mean, Mendoza, don't get me wrong, it's a good fight because he's a big power puncher, but he was also getting beat up in that fight against Fundora. He was bleeding. Even his coach
lost every round.
There you go. Yeah, so it kind of takes away a little bit from it. We're gonna have to be moving all over the place here because there's just so much to cover. But Israel Madrimov, another 154-pounder, undefeated. He fought last night on the zone card and looked okay against that guy. He hasn't looked when his first 5 fights, they moved him fast, quickly, and he looked good. In that he was knocking people out, doing the backflip afterwards. Since then, he stepped up a little bit more, and the fights against Michel Soro were just inconclusive. I mean, he was winning them, but I don't know. There's something missing with the guy. His stamina is what worries me. See, he gets tired after the 6th. He can't keep the pedal to the metal and stop these guys that he should be stopping. So it's weird, man. And then you have, like I said, Tim Tszyu and Charlo. That's probably the one fight there that we've got going. Other than that, who else is there at 154? Let me check the ratings here real quick.
You got Mono Ramos, the dude that just beat.
Oh yeah.
That kid? Yeah.
Yeah, that's the real.
Louis Spencer.
You know, I mentioned Margarito earlier. This is the guy, Jesus Ramos. That's the guy that fucking looks like the new Margarito. If there's anybody that comes close to Margarito. So, I mean, we'll see what happens with the 154.
And moving forward, too, and like he was already a chinny dude, clearly. I mean, the guy's been down a lot, right? I think Funfora's been down, I believe they said 5 times going into that fight. So he's obviously chinny. When you go down that much, you're chinny. But he's able. Chinny doesn't mean you get knocked out. Chinny just means you're able to get your lights just turned off for a second. But he's able to kind of shake it off, unless you catch him with those follow through shots, like what the kid Mendoza did. But that's a hard knockout to come back from. When you get a 10 count on you. I mean, he was out. He was asking after. He's like, was I out? Did you get to 10? I believe is what he said. So he was out cold. Like he might have been sitting up with his eyes looking at him, but nobody was home. And yeah, oof. I didn't like look.
I didn't like how he was. I mean, he'll come back because you can tell he likes fighting, not just boxing, but actually fighting. So he'll be back. But he's gonna have to fix those mistakes up. He was very relaxed in the post fight interview. He's saying like, hey, listen, I'll be back. You learn from this and blah blah blah, and which is true. But I hope he does learn from it because otherwise, I see more. I see more of this type of performances in his future, and I see him kissing the canvas a lot. He better get acquainted. He better not get acquainted with the canvas. That's all I'm saying. I don't want to see him.
And I want to just again add one more time that he was very gracious in defeat, which is nice to see. You know what I mean? It's just like it's good to see like a kid that I'm very high on. He's doing things. Well, we're going to talk about that after. You know, when we talk about the Top Rank card. But I didn't like the way he acted in the ring.
Well, I gotta tell you, first of all, shout out to everybody in the chat. Don't forget to hit the like, really helps us out. We're focusing on boxing here. We're gonna be going on for another 20-something minutes. Jeez, we gotta move faster because we gotta cover a lot. Then we're gonna be taking phone calls in about 30 minutes. And then we're moving on over to Rumble for a special Passion of the Christ episode. It is a Sunday Easter show, and John Gonzalez wanted to do one too as well on that episode, on that subject. We're gonna be talking about the controversy of that movie, The Passion of the Christ. Why was it so controversial when it came out? Who wanted it stopped? Why did they want it stopped? Why does it stand out uniquely as on its own merits as a movie? And we're going to be talking about old Mel Gibson as well. In fact, let me just play you the trailer for that episode right now. Where is it? Hold on a sec. Give me 2 seconds here. I'm a little... the Holy Ghost is distracting me. All right, here we go.
Recent interview, when you approach this sort of material, this subject, you draw enemies.
Sure.
What did you mean by that?
In the world, there is good and bad. And anybody who wants to tell a story of this magnitude about the nature of good and evil is going to draw people who are influenced by something dark. And it's going to come and afflict you in some way. And I'm not just talking about only people. I'm talking about a whole other realm.
Just hours ago, Mel Gibson's movie, The Passion of the Christ, opened to the public.
Now, this Metroplex has the feel and look of a crowded theater on a Saturday evening.
The most talked about movie of the new year, The Passion of the Christ, The Passion of the Christ.
The Passion of the Christ. But it pushed some over the edge.
I've never seen it laid out so brutally honest.
I think it's something that you should see more than once.
You said at one point that a big dark force didn't want us to make this film.
Sure.
What was the force?
There it is. That's coming up on Rumble in about an hour and a half. All right. Don't forget to hit the like I said, and we're going to be opening up the phone lines very, very soon, about 25 to 30 minutes. All right. Now listen.
Oy vey goyim.
Oh, come on. Now, wait a minute, Jimmy. What's that implying there? I don't like what you were
That was the dark force that was against it, but whatever. All right.
that was a dark force speaking through you. Now, listen. Okay, before we get to the top rank card, the other upset on the DAZN card. No, excuse me. Let's stay with the Showtime card. Brandon Lee, tougher time than expected against Carlos Ocampa. Oh, what's his first name again? Jeez, I forget.
Pedro Ocampa.
Pedro Ocampa, thank you. Who lost to Teofimo Lopez, gave Teofimo Lopez a good fight too, but certainly nothing like we saw last night. Brandon Lee started off well the first 5 rounds, and then all of a sudden, whoopsie daisy, he turns into a slugfest. He starts standing his ground a little bit more. I mean, guys, what happened with Brandon Lee here? This is the second time in a row in which he's not looking all that hot. What happened?
It's like the other Joey Spencer. It's the Spencer thing. Same, doing all over again. Matched, super soft his whole career. The kid's got 29 pro fights. You know what I mean? And yeah, that's the first time he stepped up to a kid who's lost every time he's tried to fight for a world title. So yeah, he's never going to be world champion. I doubt it. I think he's got kind of found out last night. He's limited. He can punch hard, but yeah, I don't think he's got very good feet. He doesn't but again, he could have. But when you fight once a year and your father's been matching you, searching around trying to match you against the softest people possible, that's the problem when your father runs your career. They don't want to put you in tough. And then when they finally do, you get found out. Remember what happened to Joey Spencer a couple of weeks ago? It's the same type of thing, I think. I think that fight was a lot closer than the judges scored it, too. I mean, he said he won the fight easy. Look at his face. Fuck does that mean, dude? Some people, that whole look at the face thing pisses me off because everybody's different. People bruise differently. Like myself, I can take a good shot to the head. I have thick skin. I don't bruise easy. But I know people who got like paper skin, they cut, they swell. So that whole look at the face, like that's how you judge a fight is just absurd.
I mean, you're right though. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a fun little fight. I mean, good fight for a prospect and Brandon Lee and a guy from Guaymas, Sonora that was just happy to be there. They actually make jokes about those guys from Sonora that they're not too bright. I'm not saying that he isn't, but you could tell he was just there for a paycheck and just happy to be in the United States fucking fighting. He's got ability reminiscent of Castillo. And those guys from Sonora, I think Julio Cesar Chavez was born in Obregón, good body puncher. I mean, it wasn't Castillo Corrales, but it was a fun barn burner. And I think Steve Farhood had it even, or he had Pedro Campa one up going into the 12th round. So, yeah, it was much closer. And I actually told myself, since there was a bunch of shit going on, I got to rewatch it again because it was entertaining.
He would stand his ground, Brandon Lee, a little too often, and I don't think that's because he wanted to. I think that's because he gets tired moving around so much. And that's the other thing. He's a very explosive fighter, so he'll explode with 3-4 shots, and then he'll have to stand his ground because he can't be moving around anymore or keep punching. And it's just Jim Gray. You got to give him credit too after the fight for pressing Brandon Lee. I mean, this guy doesn't. When Brandon Lee said easy, I won the fight easy, and Jim Gray goes, there was nothing easy about that fight. Just blunt as anyone could be. It's going to be, he doesn't get too much credit, this guy. Larry Merchant would get credit for calling fighters out, but man, Jim Gray just does it, he's autistic or something. I don't know, man, but it's very fun to see, that's for sure. But I thought, I thought the Campa fight, I thought that could have been a draw or a win for Campa, man. I mean, I don't know what Brandon Lee's talking about when he says that it was easy.
Yeah. I agree 100% with you. He just doesn't know what to do and what he does because he throws everything the same speed. He throws, so he's good for about 30 seconds of solid offense around, and then the rest of the time he's just trying to avoid your punches. You know what I mean? Like, and he does it because remember, I think he had like 14 first round or 18 first round knockouts. That should tell you the level of competition he fought. Think about that. It was either 14 or 18 first-round knockouts. So he was just facing as soft as possible, and you just develop bad habits. And all I saw in that kid's performance last night, I'm not, you can take, yes, it was a fun fight because two dudes were beating on each other, but I don't really kind of watch fights like that. I'm always trying to check out skill, what they're doing. I want to be impressed by something I see in there. And there was nothing about what he did last night that impressed me. And I know it can be like cynical or negative, but there was just nothing. I didn't see anything that impressed me. I don't know about you, Gonzalo. What do you say?
You hit the nail on the head, Jimmy, with comparing him to Joey Spencer. I thought they were the same guy, even though one guy supposedly had Mexican Chinese and the other guy's white. To me, they were the same dude. Same level, man.
Wait, this dude, Brandon Lee, I thought he was half Korean, half Mexican.
Oh, half Korean. Okay, yeah.
No, I thought
his mom's a Mexican. His mom's a Mexican American. His dad's Korean.
Oh, okay.
I wonder how that happened. Maybe they were running a restaurant down in Mexicali, Mexico, for Chinese food or something.
Maybe they were running a half restaurant.
California has the highest Korean population in, I believe, Southern California, so that would make sense.
Well, listen, let's move on to the ESPN card because we had Shakur Stevenson moving up to 135, first fight at 135, and he stopped the tough, what's his first name again? Shushiro Yoshino in 6 rounds. He dropped him twice, I believe. Stoppage was a little, but he ended up stopping him. Guys, what did you make of that performance?
Yeah, go ahead.
Gonzalo, you want to go? Yeah. All right, you want me to go?
What's going on here?
Sure.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry, what's the kid's name again? Who won?
Yoshino.
The kid who won the fight.
Shakur Stevenson.
Yeah, so Shakur, see, my God. I mean, there's so many things going through my head. There was so many fights last night. Oh, yeah, no, Shakur Stevenson looked good. He looked good. I still, because, all right, skill-wise, there's almost, the kid's good, man. His distance, he knows distance. His hands are just super fast. He's got a great stick. He'd be hard to beat at 135. I'm telling you, he's going to be hard to beat. But if I want to sit there and say there's one thing I don't like, is sometimes he doesn't look right after he takes a shot. I don't know if it's a surprise look on his face, like because he gets hit so doesn't get hit a lot. So when he does, I'm asking myself, is he just reacting because, oh, Jesus Christ, I got hit, I wasn't expecting it? Or was it he gets a little flustered? But he just doesn't seem like it seems like, all right, best way to describe it, he doesn't seem comfortable getting hit. Now, what's going to happen if he gets hit hard? I mean, obviously, I'll tell you right now, that's the only way you're going to beat this kid. Someone's going to have concussive power and put it on him. That's the only way you're going to beat him, because skill-wise, if you're just going in there hand-to-hand and you try to box with him with his length and his stick, there's nobody at 135 who beats him. I'm going to say it right now.
Well, I don't know about that, but Gonzalo, what do you think?
Yeah, first of all, I had watched Yoshino fight. I think the last name of the other opponent up in Japan was Ito, the last name. Then he fought Nakatani, right? When I saw those two fights or highlights, I can't recall what they were. I watched the fights in their entirety. I don't think. Yeah, he gets hit a lot, man. He was getting fucking pieced up in those two fights. He was getting pieced up. So I said to myself, man, this Bruce Trampler and the ESPN people, they're real shrewd matchmakers. This guy's tailor-made for Shakur. Okay, now the fight, I have to say what stuck out about Shakur understanding the style, because, I mean, the guy was good, a power puncher. I don't think he's ever been knocked out, Yoshino. Shakur Stevenson is agile. He's agile, quick thinking, puts it together with the quick hands. And he's sharp. He is accurate, and he can punch past the target with speed. So basically, he's not Golovkin punching through the target with power, but he punches with speed through the target, and maybe that's the reason he ends up messing up his hands, because they can't take it. But nonetheless, his intention is to punch past clear the where he wants to place his punch, and he's very accurate with that. And given that he's got that agility, he could offset the tempo, so he can sit there in the pocket with you, and you're expecting for him to punch at the same speed as you, but then he throws at a different pace. The tempo's different, so it kind of like it catches you off guard, and that's why his quickness is like real surprising. It surprises, and it could just catch you with punches you don't see coming. So right. I think that's what kept Yoshino off balance and kind of second guessing himself, and that's why the referee stopped it. Although I didn't like to see that, but it was getting kind of boring, and he would end up picking him apart anyhow. But yeah, it was kind of boring in a sense.
It was shrewd matchmaking from Top Rank. They needed to put him in there against a guy that he could stop. I mean, he did. He had to stop him. Otherwise, it would have looked bad. He can't stop anybody. That being said, he is very quick. I was watching his feet because Jimmy and I were talking about that when we were talking about Haney versus Lomachenko. So I said, let me just watch the feet more than anything else, see what's going on. I didn't have a good chance to do it, though, because I was watching 3 fights at the same time. That's not fun, man. I'm not Elvis Presley. I can't watch 3 screens at the same time. Be that as it may, I was watching the feet. He's very well planted there. Real quick, to Jimmy's point about Shakur Stevenson looking a little shook after he takes a shot. I don't know if that's a tick that he has. Remember, Santa Cruz would do that thing where he would shake his right hand after taking a shot. So could just be that, or it could be like Jimmy said, he doesn't like getting hit. Now some people are gonna say, well, nobody likes getting hit. Again, some boxers do like getting hit, believe it or not. They for them, when they get hit, it's almost like, all right, the fight's starting now, and they get pumped up. It's a weird thing. They're not normal professional boxers. I'll put it that way. And third of all, let's also point out the fact that Shakur Stevenson is the same guy when he fought Nakatila. He got caught with a big right hand and then just spent the rest of the fight running. And he said, well, look, listen, I got caught. I didn't like it, but I'll look better the next time. So he's telling you himself that he doesn't like getting hit. So there's that. At 135, there's some guys that can crack. But we'll see what happens. The future looks bright here. The future looks bright for Shakur Stevenson from a skill-wise. That's how it looks like.
And
yes.
And the reason why I say it, I don't see who beats him, because think about it, the hottest puncher probably would say Tank Davis. I doubt he would even take that fight. And it's the one guy nobody calls out, right? Nobody's ever calling that kid out. I mean, Oscar Valdez isn't a bum, and he schooled him. I'm telling you, that kid is, I know a lot of people, listen, he's an easy kid not to like, from the girl who's going to be his wife. I don't know if he married her, he's giving a finger where she's on her knees licking his crotch. He punched that girl in public. He cried after the thing. So he's done a lot of things sometimes I don't know if it's like, I try to separate myself from that and just look at it skill-wise. I say, okay, who's going to stick with him? He's got the fastest hands. He's extremely accurate. And what he does, to his credit, he said after that boring fight that he would stay in the pocket. And he does. He's right there with people. He's not running. He's right in the pocket. It's just he's got such quick hands, and he's so accurate with his punches. Because even Lomachenko, because of Lomachenko's size, if he was a couple inches shorter, that'd be a different story. But because he's so much bigger than Lomachenko, I just, in Loma's age, I wouldn't like him. I wouldn't like Loma in that fight right now. I'm just being honest. I'll stick to my guns. I'm really hard pressed to see who'd beat him right now at 135.
Well, speaking of future fights, and we talked a little bit about this on Friday, Shakur Stevenson thinks he's already making it seem as if Haney is going to beat Lomachenko. And he's saying, I'm going to school Haney. That's what he said. Of course, we still got that fight to make and to happen, and I'm telling you, people are underrating Lomachenko on this one, as always. Be that as it may, I'm a little worried about these fights not happening. If Haney wins, I don't think the Shakur Stevenson fight happens. Listen, Afro-Anglos don't fight each other, and if you're telling me that I'm being racist or whatever, prove me wrong. Tell me what the last time you had a big fight. Look at Crawford versus Spence. That's the big fight between two Afro-Anglos that could be made. And it hasn't happened. Now, finally, they're talking about maybe it will happen in June. But, geez, Luis, it took 5 years to make the fight, and these guys aren't even Pacquiao, Mayweather big. So I'm just saying that this, and on top of that, like I mentioned earlier, on Friday, I should say, Bill Haney, Devin Haney's father, said, oh, yeah, we're going to make the fight at 147. Meaning they're going to wait 3-4 years. Who knows what happens between then? Maybe Shakur gets chained. Yeah. Maybe Haney gets schooled by Lomachenko. I mean, it's insanity that these fights, they don't want this fight to happen. And again, it's unfortunate, but that's what seems to be the case with Afro-Anglos. They don't fight each other. The top Afro-Anglos just don't want to fight each other. They're brothers. He's my dog.
And let's be honest, Mr. BDA, he can't even jokingly say there's an outside chance Loma wins. He has to say he's going with Haney. For Christ's sakes, all he did was, imagine giving flowers to his father and look at the fucking wrath of shit he caught. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. From people. So imagine if he picked Lomachenko, then he's a complete sellout. He knows that. So I think even if he, in his brain, believes Loma is going to beat him, he can't say it publicly because he just knows the fucking wheels will be turning, and there's people in the YTVC who will just be pumping out videos about how fucking, he's an Uncle Tom and fucking traitor and everything else. So kind of sucks. But yeah, Haney's not taking that fight. Haney wants absolutely nothing to do with fucking Shakur Stevenson. That's why his father's saying, 147, which is 2 weight classes above where Haney's at now. So you're talking 5 years from now.
Yeah, I mean, it's bizarre, man.
That fight's not going to take place.
It's bizarre that the Haney's don't. I mean, like I said, first they got to get through Lomachenko, and I don't think that. I mean, people are underrating Lomachenko. I will say this though. I also mentioned that the star potential for Shakur Stevenson, because generally guys who are boxer punchers and who can't really crack that much do not become boxing stars. They do not transcend the sport of boxing. And I did mention on Friday that the ticket sales were looking good in New Jersey, his home state. And I checked Twitter earlier today, I should say, and I saw Steve Kim said that he was there and that yes, indeed, they did I think more people were there than the last time he fought there. Shakur Stevenson did when he fought Conceição. So at least in his home state of New Jersey, he's proving to be an attraction. Now they're gonna try to pull because again, he's half Puerto Rican. I think that's why he's so good defensively. Like he's channeling his inner Wilfred Benitez, but he is trying to push more and mention his Puerto Rican side more. And again, that could be good because it could attract some Puerto Ricans. But how many Puerto Ricans are out there, first of all? Second of all, it could alienate the Afro-Anglos, especially the racist ones who are all about, my blackness and all that. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with that. It's going to be interesting to see if Top Rank tries to go with the Puerto Rican thing or if Shakur Stevenson continues applying the Boricua angle. Who knows? It's going to be interesting to see. But that's what happened on Top Rank. We also had Jared Anderson fighting a movie. I didn't get a chance to watch all of that fight because, again, I was watching it on different streams at the same time. So, guys, did you guys catch the Anderson fight?
Oh yeah. I'll tell you right now, he beats Joshua right now. I believe I'm in 100% agreement with Tim. What's his name? My God,
Bradley.
I'm having fucking brain farts. What's that?
Bradley,
yes. But I'll tell you every time one of the guys he fanboys for throws a punch, yeah, dude, it gets fucking like, all right, dude, stop. Like, I hate sitting next to someone who does that during a fight. If I'm watching a fight and I'm like, dude, shut the fuck up, man. Like, and he's doing it, it's coming through the TV. I'm like, all right, I know you like fucking, you know what I mean? And that's what he does. But and Newark's a big fight town. That's Hagler's hometown. Marvin Hagler grew up there, so it's a big fight town. They do like their boxing there. It was a good crowd.
Jimmy, you made me laugh with that. Shut the fuck up. Some guy's passing out next to you. Yeah.
It just drives me crazy, bro. You know what I mean? You're trying to watch a fight, and the kid's like, dude, he busted a nut. Shut your mouth. Every time the fucking, a punch lands.
Well, Gonzalo, that's a big statement right there from Jimmy. He says he would beat Jared Anderson to beat Anthony Joshua right now. What do you think about that?
Yeah, he's more fluid. I mean, compared to Joshua, yeah, he's definitely more fluid than him, and he's quite fluid for a prospect. And he's what is he, a contender now? I mean, the guy's quality. He's definitely a boxer. He ain't no football player. He's good. He throws good straight punches. With speed, I don't think he's like super powerful, but just the way he throws the punches with speed and straight. And obviously he's a heavyweight. Yeah, he puts a lot on them punches. So he's quite quick as well. And that's how he develops the power. So he's definitely a good boxer. It's about time that America had a good prospect. So let's see if he proves to be the goods.
I gotta tell you,
the future's looking bright for him. We'll see.
I got to tell you, Gonzalo, though, you mentioned the straight punches. I don't take too much from Jared Anderson's last fights. There was one fight he fought some guy, some Belarusian trolley driver, as a lorry driver, I should say, as Stu would say, and he was getting hit a little bit in there. I want to see him fight somebody that's going to stand his ground and give it to him. Put him in there with that, what's his name? Coffee. Or is it Jonathan Rice? What's the name of the dude that upset? Anyway, and he also upset some Italian in his last fight. Put him in there with that guy. That is the next move to make because, like I said, Jared Anderson hasn't fought anybody. Like, okay, listen, I understand that Joshua didn't look good in his last fight, but he can crack, man. He still has some good offense. I haven't seen how Jared Anderson is going to handle that. I don't know about his chin. I don't know about how he can roll with the shots. I don't know what his defensive abilities are to the maximum. You could put him in there, I guess, like a Jagba too. The guy that at some point was being considered the next big thing. So there's a lot there's a lot of good fights to make that Top Rank could do in this one, man. That's for sure.
I mean, yeah, Joshua's good, but I kind of agree with Jimmy because Joshua's like the lion from the Wizard of Oz now. He kind of looks like that, the face. The cowardly lion. Every time he gets hit, he's like too trepidatious to make the next move. And that's looking suspect to me with Joshua.
Good word.
Yeah, you're right, man. You're right. I mean, yeah, he didn't look. I don't blame you guys for picking Joshua. I mean, Anderson against him. I just think he's way too unproven at this point.
And I can say that I was told right through the grapevine that he can take a punch. Like people sparring have hit him hard, and he really is a good fighter, and he's very fluid for a big man. You know what I mean? That's why right now I would seriously beat him. I mean, I would pick him to. The only person I would say would beat him in heavyweight, Usyk, because of just skill or in, like you said, the amount of fights. He's untested, but just going in there right now, if they were to fight, it's not, I would put him right up there against anybody. I believe it's Starch, fucking Wilder, beat Joshua, Fury. I don't know, because of the size. That'd be interesting, but yeah, I think he's right there on the cusp. I think they're going to move him along pretty quick from here on out.
Well, listen, let me just say that we've got the phone lines open in case anybody wants to call in, talk about all the major fights that took place last night, the major upsets, the slugfest, the good performances. We're going to talk about all of it.
And I like to say too, Keyshawn Davis. I'm big on Keyshawn. Wicked skilled kid, great fighter. I didn't like the knee, and you're beating up to kid Anthony Gidget or Digit or whatever the kid's name, who was playing to the crowd like he was doing something, but he kneed him in the side of the face when he was on the ground. It's a little fucking, give him a good knee, like hurt the kid, hit him in the jaw. And even Taylor, I'm like you said, fucking
Bradley.
Tim Bradley said the same thing. He's like, oh yeah, no, he did it. He kneed him because he was like, he kneed me. Yeah, when the kid went down, boom, he gave him a knee in the face. So he's got a great. Oh, you didn't see it? Oh yeah, watch it. They kind of go stumbling down. Idjit goes onto the ground, holding on to Davis, and Davis purposely gives him a knee in the side of the face, which is just a real low rent thing to fucking do.
But then, if you root against him, it's because it's another black guy you're rooting against. Well, I mean, tell these Afro Anglos to stop acting that way. I mean, you get Tank Davis acting like. Hold on. Tank Davis acting like a fiend outside the ring. Same thing with Shakur Stevenson. Now this dude kneeing people in the ring. I mean, come on, man. So what's going on? They're teaching these guys to be bad sports, and then people root against them, and then it's got to be racism. By the way, we got Alan R jumping on the panel. Alan, are you there?
Yeah. Happy Easter, everybody.
Happy Easter, right back at you.
Thanks, guys. Okay. Let me. I mean, I didn't see the knee to the face, but what came across to me is, maybe this Yigit kid was showboating a bit, but I think he was showing heart. He was getting beat up, right? And he was saying, "Come on, let's go," which I can respect that, right? And for some reason, some of these American boxers seem to get offended at somebody showing heart. I saw it on this guy's face. He was pissed. And I think even Bradley sounded a little annoyed at what he was seeing. And I'm like, what is up with that?
I mean, look at who they hang out with, man. I mean, it's like I said, I'm not going to get into it right now because it's a boxing show, but the culture drips into the boxing, and it is what it is, man. It's you're right though. It seems like if somebody showboats right back at them, they take it. I don't know what it could be. I don't know. First of all, I have to watch the fight because I didn't see it, and I need to see the extent of the knee. But look, whether he tapped him with the knee or whether he full on hit him, you're still hitting a guy while he's down, and that's a big bozo no-no right there.
And to me personally, I think that shows a vulnerability, a mental vulnerability, because if you have a guy with enough skill, like someone that knows they could beat someone like a Davis, all they got to do is go in there and just piss him off. Just get him mad. Get him swinging for the fences.
Yeah, tell him
the punches
before the fight. Tell him hip hop sucks or something, and you'll fucking get him riled up. By the way, Super Sardonic says Yigit was rabbit punching a lot. He was asking for it. Jimmy, did that happen? I didn't see the fight. So
rabbit punching. Come on. I mean, when they were in a clinch, he was kind of like giving him smacks and stuff. But who was on the ref on that? I can't remember. But rabbit punching is a part of boxing. Not saying you get penalized for it. And if it was bad enough, I would imagine a ref would have said something. I don't remember seeing that, but egregious rabbit punches. You don't need somebody because you're in there. And again, this is a kid you're going to dominate. He's there for you to dominate. And he was dominating. And it's a fight. You're going to be able, if you're angry with the kid, what it shows is you can't contain your emotions. And he even said it, to his credit. At the end of the fight, to Davis's credit, he said, "Yeah, I got a little angry in there, and I got to control that." So, and he's an articulate dude. He's full of personality. I'm very high on him. So I'm just saying, I would like to see that curtailed. Don't bring that shit into the ring. You know what I mean? Because it doesn't help. It's not going to help him transcend, to Mr. BDA's point. You know what I mean? It's not going to, you're not going to get, you'll be less apt to get any kind of endorsements if you have that kind of mentality. Like you said, the other one, Gervonta Davis, always talking about, if this is the streets, man, I'd be fucking rolling up on you and smoking you. You know what I mean? Like, shut up, dude.
Yeah.
So,
Keyshawn Davis and Shakur Stevenson act like they fucking run Top Rank. In that press conference, Bruce Trampler was too quick to bend over backwards at a comment that Shakur made. And freaking the other Keyshawn Davis is right along with them. I mean, they know that they're the A side. And I don't know if it's a passing of like the torch because Bob is taking less part in the company, that they're willing to do anything for these guys. And it was the night for the brothers to come out and shine, so to speak. So we'll see when they face real fucking fighters.
Yeah, but you know what though? Top Rank tries to sanitize their behavior. Like when apparently, I don't know if this is true or not, but when Shakur Stevenson was talking trash to Valdez before their fight, and then Valdez brought up the fact that this guy was beating up women. And apparently they cut that from the preview. So I'm thinking, okay, you can. That's a rumor. I don't know if it's true or not. But if it is true, they can try to sanitize these guys all they want. But if these guys keep acting that way, eventually they're not going to be. I mean, they can't hide it from us. We already know what's up. So it's only going to come out more if these guys continue to do it. They were also throwing out the gang signs, I think, during one of the photo shoots during the press conference. So I mean, listen, it appeals to a certain demographic. But it not pisses off, but it alienates a whole other demographic. So they got to be smart about it. Like, Shakur Stevenson can't be trying to appeal to the Puerto Ricans and then throwing out blood signs or whatever, or Crip signs. I don't know what it was, the Crips or Bloods, one of those. So, I mean, that's just, from a PR perspective, that's all I'm saying.
And BDA, one quick thing real quick. You know how Crawford made those comments about Bob Arum, how he was racist? Maybe this is a sign of like, them showing, we're not racist. So like it's real weight-worthy for them to do that. It's like, okay, now I know how you move. I'm gonna act this way because I know I can. Because if you say something to me, it proves that you are right.
That's why you gotta double down. That's why you gotta double down.
Words right out of my mouth, brother. That's exactly what I was gonna say. When you lob that fucking verbal grenade at him like that. Now it's like, it's almost like I gotta go out of my way to show, like, I'm not curtailing, I'm not checking personalities. I'm not telling these guys, when your biggest fighter that you're paying more than any other fighter in his division, guaranteed money, and he lobs, you're a racist. That's course. That stains that's a stain it takes a long time to wash off, especially within the community.
That's right.
You know what I mean? People pop their head up like, really? Like, it's just a shame. I lost so much respect for Crawford for that because Bob isn't. The only color Bob cares about is green.
Like Don King.
Yeah,
exactly.
and especially Jimmy Allen, since Bob Arum is like in his 90s, maybe they're thinking, okay, we got to protect this man's legacy because once he dies, it's the era where they'll take everything away from you. I think they're trying to do the Clint Eastwood and whatnot. I mean, it's like you die and all your hard work goes to fucking waste because a stupid comment they'll misrepresent things.
Bob doesn't want to end up like what's his name? That Donald guy that used to own the Clippers.
Oh yeah, that dude. Yeah, yeah. What was his name? Not Donald Pleasance. What was his name?
Well, you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah. He told. Yeah, they take things away from you, man. Yeah, so Bob Arum.
A couple of wrong turns, and that was it.
Cancel culture. And Gonzalo hit the nail on the head. It's exactly what it is. It's cancel culture, and they do it everywhere in all parts. They, like you said, Clint Eastwood. They're literally trying to cancel him right now because of stuff he said about American Indians in 1971.
He doesn't care, right?
I don't think he knows what's going on either. I saw a recent interview with Clint Eastwood. He sounds a little out of it too, so he should be playing that card. It's like, hey, listen, I'm just an old man. What do you want from me? But here's the thing, though. so that's the card there. I'm gonna try to watch that, see what happened there with the knee. I bet he's gonna get a lot of fans though, Keyshawn Davis, from a certain demographic because of that behavior. That being said, last thing with Bob Arum, if Bob Arum, somebody calls him a racist, he's got to double down, or he's got to just dismiss him completely and just say,
fuck her and fuck them.
That's right. That's all you got to do. You got to be belligerent.
Shut the fuck up, you little prick.
That's all he's got to do.
And the fact the fact that case never went forward, that they, Crawford, to his credit on that. Again, I believe he was talked into doing it by his representation. The fact that Freeman was his lawyer, which is a friend of Al and a client. I mean, someone who did business with Al Heyman for years and represented Mikey Garcia in a case against Bob Arum that Bob won. So I believe, he had a meeting and they said, this is what you got to do. They blamed Bob for him not having big fights, probably lied to him saying, oh yeah, we would have made these fights, but they didn't want to make them. So yeah.
So these guys know, man, suing a Jay is bringing a knife to a gunfight, man.
Exactly. It's true. It's true. I mean, hey, listen, that's why it was a frivolous suit to begin with, and then he's going to go against Bob Arum, the guy who probably leads.
Good luck.
He probably reads law books for fun. So I mean, yeah,
he worked for the Department of Justice, dude. Bob was wasn't he a Harvard graduate? He was a slick lawyer. So trust me, if what would have happened, it would have got thrown out, but Bob would have made sure it went to past discovery. At least that way he could juice up the bills, and then he would have been responsible for law, top ranks law bills, and it would have been heavy.
Well, listen,
Bob would pay for it.
We got a lot of phone calls now here. Well, go ahead.
I got a quick question for Jimmy and Gonzalo about Anderson. To me, it looks like this guy keeps his chin up in the air, and when he starts throwing, right, like when he's throwing combos, I think he's open for a counter. What do you guys think?
Yes, I agree. I think that's because he's very confident in his chin. Again, I was told that he can take a shot, that he spars hard, and he takes big shots in the gym. And he's got a good chin. And you can usually tell the way somebody fights if they have confidence in their chin. If they do that, those are habits they, incur. Like one of the best power punches to protect his chin was Triple G. The way he always looked down the tops of through his eyes, the prime Triple G. Never put his chin up no matter what. So even though he had a fucking granite chin. But so we'll see. Yeah, I know he's there to be hit. Obviously, he's overpowering people with his athleticism and his strength right now.
Yeah, but I can see how someone like Usyk would just handle him.
Yeah, I would have to take a look at his fighting some more right now. It's too early to tell. See what happens in the future.
Yeah, it's easy to look great against, no-hopers.
Yeah, he fought an undefeated kid, but that was, undefeated records can be very, again, if you fight soft competition.
Had you ever heard of Arias before?
No. No, I haven't. Yeah, no, and his corner was smart to stop that. Let him, because he was out on his feet pretty much going back. He was all goofy-legged and stuff going back to the corner, bleeding from his eye. It sucks that he didn't what he wanted because he's, all the power to him, great heart and courage. You want to go forward. But the next round, he was going to get knocked out. So, just stop it there. There was no need to have your fighter take any more punishment. There was no need.
And what was up with Anderson getting frustrated in the first round when Arias was moving around? Did you see that?
Yeah, that was weird, man. He knew he was going to start moving from the get-go. I think he just wanted him to stay still. But at the end of the day, it appears as if he chased him down. So we'll see what happens. Yeah, I want to see him fight a puncher. I want to see what he's got and defensively. Because it's easy to look good against some of these guys that fold whenever they feel his power. I want to see him fight a guy that's going to really give it to him back. All right, now...
I saw people saying that they think Torres beats him.
Torres. All right, yeah, that's the other guy that they should be pushing more. They're going more with the top rank's going more with Anderson. They got Torres in there. He might be on the smaller side, but geez, Louise, this guy's explosive. He's a bullet in there.
I think that's why, BD. I think because he's the smaller of the two.
I think they're making a mistake, man. All right, listen, the phone lines are piling up.
Richard Torres is tough and he cracks.
The phone calls are piling up here, and we got to go to Rumble in about an hour. So hopefully,
Let it fly.
Once we get through this, we'll be able to, maybe we get a chance to talk about Akhmadaliev and Jesse Bam Rodriguez. All right, let's go to the phone lines here and try to be concise with your phone call because, again, we got a lot of phone calls here, so we can't be going back and forth with you guys. So give us your opinion, and then we'll move on here. Let's go to 773. 773, you're on the air. 773, what's on your mind?
2 quick points. I can't believe you said Bob is trying to showcase these black fighters so he doesn't appear to be racist. There's some delusional takes and some crazy thoughts coming out of your guys' heads. They just put a card together. Bob could care less. It's water off a duck's back. Dude's like 98 years old. You think he cares what some fighter says about him? Dude doesn't care anything. That dude's in his own world. He's got his own ego, and he could care less about someone calling him a name. He's doing it. He's trying to make money, so he put on a card. He's not trying to save his image or whatever the crap you guys are talking about. Straight delusional bullshit. I will say this though. I want to talk
hold on. They were speculating. They were speculating about maybe that's the reason. They didn't say that was a full-on reason.
And it wasn't speculation. Bob was crushed by what Kevin said. Remember Steve Kim? He was very upset by what he said. And in today's culture, dude, being called that, if you think that didn't bother Bob, you're high. And if you don't think his reputation, especially when you're at the twilight of your life, all you have is your legacy, and someone's branding you that, you think that's just rolling off his back, Kev? No. Your take is delusional,
I think it's water off a duck's back. I don't think anything gets to Bob. The dude, he's like that dude, I don't know.
Bob could be
You don't have no feelings. You don't have feelings. All he sees is dollar signs. All he cares about is money. That's it. And,
well, listen.
I don't know.
All right. Well, listen, that's
I'll say this, though.
Yeah.
I'll say this. How about this one, Beatty? I got one more point. I got one fight I want to talk about. What do you think it is? One fight I want to talk about. What do you think it is?
Crawford versus Spence, the fight you've been looking forward to for years. 4 years.
We're having fun. We're having fun.
Go ahead, Kevin, because we got to move on, man. What's the fight you want to look forward to?
No, it's Fundora. It's Fundora, the gangly dude.
Yeah.
Gangly and Langley.
What about him?
See that goofy build? It's such a goofy build. It's not like he's long and strong. He's just gangly. I don't know. People are real high on this dude, but look at that gangly build. It's all goofy. He's all goofy and awkward and gangly. He got knocked out like a goofball. How did you guys say though? Have a good one.
All right. All right, Kevin. Thank you for your call, man. Always on fire, Kevin. Kevlar, K-Dog, raising the takes.
On that note, I got to give quick credit to Coach Malachi, man. That dude knows his boxing because I think it was on Friday, and he literally said, "I think Fundora is ready to get beat." That dude leaves himself open all the time.
Yeah, I mean, he wasn't that.
Mr. BDA said too.
well, no, I didn't pick him. I didn't pick him to win. I mean, I didn't pick him to lose, but I just said it's better be careful with those wide shots of his against a short guy. But I mean, listen, anybody, you know boxing, you can see that those were the mistakes that he was making. So it's not like I'm not patting myself on the back here. By the way, Bucho says, is Kevin saying that Jewish people? Thank you. King Bucho saying, is Kevin saying that Jewish people only care about money? Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, Kevin, you got to watch out, man. They're going to give you the treatment, the same treatment they gave Bob Arum. And you're not Jewish, so you can't play. Yeah.
Sorry. One quick response for that, too, BD. I know Bob Arum could probably care less. I mean, he's a smart dude. He lived a long life. But it's not about what he thinks. I mentioned Bruce Trampler because they were in the press conference, and I think Shakur said something why he didn't like Yoshino or I don't know what he said, but Bruce Trampler was quick to agree with Shakur. And I'm not saying that they can't fight all these African Americans in one card, and I mean, more power to them. But it's not that. It's what they think they can get away with and what's unspoken and nobody brings up. Because if you say something, you're the fucking bad guy.
I agree.
You're the racist. That's it. That's all I was saying. This is boxing. Who gives a fuck anyways? I'm just saying.
Exactly.
It was a good take, Gonzalo.
All right, let's go to the phone call here. Let's go to 321. 321, you're on the air. 321, what's on your mind? 321, you're on the air.
Hello.
Yes. Go ahead, sir.
Is it me? Is it my turn?
That's right.
What's going on, BTA? Let me quickly breath the people out there. En el nombre del Padre, del Hijo, y del Santo. You already know. We already here. Yes, I am back. Quantum love, quantum mechanics. I am the breaker of all time and space and understanding. I mean, Shakur Stevenson. I know you gotta suck it. You gotta be like, damn. Like, you gotta suck. You're like, damn. Like, we going back in time right now. You gotta suck it in right now. It's like, yo, this dude is really still alive. Like, he's really is here. Yeah. So everybody, like, yes, Shakur Stevenson. I think he'll all box Haney decision. I want to see Shakur Stevenson against Ryan Garcia. That would be interesting because distance control is everything. You know what I'm saying? Distance control. If you're a good fighter, you know how to control your distance. And me, when I was a fighter, I did MMA and boxing.
Oh.
You have to understand that distance is everything. You have to know. You have to like meditate where their feet are going to be and your feet are going to be. If you can do that, that makes you a good fighter. You know what I'm saying? But Eddie, yo, BDA, what's going on? I'm so happy to be on here. I was like on here on the phone. Yo, this is Quantum. Quantum is back. Yeah, Quantum is here. I resurrected from the dead, yo.
Quantum is
BDA,
here. Quantum is back.
I've been listening to your stream. Yo, I just got a couple questions because I know you got mad phone calls. Yo, I'm alive, yo. I resurrected Machiavelli. Yo, let me ask you a couple questions because I'm curious. Ryan Garcia, Davis, Israel Adesanya knocking on Alex Pereira. Like, I just want your feedback real quick on you know, what's coming up because boxing is heating up. Yo, and thank you guys. Thank you, King Butcher. Thank you for all you guys giving me shout outs. Shakur beats Ryan. I don't deny that. Shakur is a very good boxer, but Ryan he's spicy. He's still got a fight with Tank. Tank versus Ryan. Like, there's a lot of talk about here. There's more than just this fight. Okay, we're talking about this fight, but there's a lot that's coming. You know, we're talking about what's happening now.
There's more than just boxing coming.
You know what's coming
there's
right
more
now.
than just there's more than just boxing coming. There's a whole other thing coming. It's something that some people aren't prepared for, and we're trying to prepare them for that. That's why we're going to talk about some of it over at the Second Renaissance. But listen, Quantum, we're going to answer your question, but we got to go listen to the answer on the air. And thanks again for your call. And good to hear that you're back alive and 100%, man. Good to hear you're back alive and 100%.
I'm back here. Well, I just wanted to tell you guys, make sure you guys hit the like button. Always hit the like button. You have to hit the like button because it helps the algorithm. BDA's always been there, and he was the person when I was in the hospital I would listen to. BDA and other people I won't mention because I don't clout chase for other people. Okay. But BDA, yo, you do your thing. I want to hear the answer. Tell me what you think of all these topics that I just brought up. Let's go. Yo, thank you. And I love you and be safe, my nigga.
You too, man. En el nombre del Padre, del Hijo y del Espíritu Santo. All right, take it easy, man. And by the way, but you see, he said, listen, he said it. I didn't say it. The BDA Boxing Show saved him. So I'm not saying it. He said it. We have curative qualities here on this podcast. That's amazing.
Yeah, the next thing he's going to say, BDA, is that he sounded like you were his nurse, like you were there in person.
Okay, come on.
Like, remember he made this make-believe character. He made this make-believe character last time. He was talking to a nurse that didn't exist, like a beautiful mind, like this make-believe makeshift character.
Nah, man, yeah, okay,
He was talking back and forth with it.
don't make me out to be the nurse in this scenario. Look, listen. Okay, he mentioned Garcia versus Tank Davis real quick. I'm picking Garcia. I'm going with the underdog. I'm not all that confident right now with that, but I'm just telling you. I know he's the underdog, but I'm picking him to subvert the coming evil that they're trying to push on us here with this whole corporate entities. What was the other question he mentioned? Desania versus the Perez. I didn't see that fight. I'm not a UFC guy, so I didn't see it. And I guess we'll talk more.
Adesanya, right?
Adesanya, is that how you spell his name?
I think that's how he spelled it. He won, I think, right? Yeah.
I think so. Yeah, that's what I heard on the Discord. But but Garcia versus Tank Davis, we're going to be talking about that more as the fight gets closer. It's going to happen already. Not next week. The week after. Not this Saturday. The next one. So oof, that's going to be crazy. We're going to cover all that here. Let's go to another phone call
Luis
here.
and Zhang is next weekend too.
Oh yeah, the immovable object versus the unstoppable force. That's going to be good.
Yeah.
Were you thinking of the word dynamite, BD? You didn't say it to him. It's going to be dynamite, huh?
It's going to be dynamite. It's going to be dynamite. That's for sure, man. We're going to get racial. I'm telling you right now, we're going to get racial. There's no other way to do it. All right, let's go to another phone call here. Let's go to 419. They're piling up. 419, you're on the air. 419, what's on your mind?
Yeah, hi, guys. Love the show. I want to know why you guys are not talking about the judging last night in the first two fights. That was just, horrible judging, and it's been going on for the past 3 months in boxing.
Great point, man. Great point.
It's ridiculous, and I want to hear Jimmy's thought on what I'm about to say now. Jared Anderson, I believe he is ready. I believe that he cannot beat the top 4 tier in the heavyweight division. I mean, now after that, once you start talking about guys like Dylan White, Joseph Parker, I would like I would like to see him against those type guys next. I don't think he's ready for a Joe Joyce though yet, but he's at that level. He's there, and they need to put him in with guys not like Arias. They need to put him in with guys like the Whites. Jermaine Franklin, I would like to see him versus Jermaine Franklin. And that's all I got to say. The first two fights, you guys never talk about the scoring, but the scoring was just horrendous. It was just horrendous. The first fight, I forget the guy's name, but he won that fight. The second fight was maybe a draw, or the right person won, but the scores were just so horrendous. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you're talking about the first fight in the PBC card was Nunez versus I forget the Mexican guy, and then Brandon Lee
Ramiro. Yeah,
and then Brandon Lee. One of the scorecards was way too wide for a fight that was very. I mean, I don't know, man. So it's. Well, listen. Well, okay, hold on, real quick. Real quick. Yeah, 419. We're gonna move on to another phone call, but Jimmy's gonna answer your question. So listen in on the air, right, man?
Oh, okay, I will. Thank you. Thank you, BDA and everybody on the panel. Peace.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Yeah, happy.
Because we got to move on.
Thanks for the call. No, that was ridiculous. George Cruz, I believe, is the judge's name. Horrendous. He didn't give the kid one round. And I think the kid won the fight. Yeah, I believe he scored at 100 to 90. It was egregious. But look at what's going on. Look. It's always the PBC house fighter gets the guys that they want to win, get these absurd cards so is it because they want to be used again? I don't know. But yeah, no, he filled that card out before he even got to the fucking arena. That was egregious. On top of that, there was a bunch of fights stopped way too early. Guys still defending themselves, hands up, protecting themselves, and they're stopping the fight. So yeah, no. And then the second fight with Jason Lee, that was a woman, of course, judging, and it was a ridiculous scorecard. So he was right on the money. And I think about Big Baby Anderson. I think he's ready for the top guys. I really do. I believe you could put him right up there because his fluidity. He's big. He hits hard. He's very aggressive, and he moves. I mean, how many other guys are moving like him right now at that size with that aggression? So yes, I agree. I don't know what he would do. I agree. I think Usyk would be too much for him right now. And maybe there's a couple other guys up there, but the lower tier, I think he rips through them.
What about Fury?
But that's it. The size might be an issue. Fury might have enough skill for a big man to be able to, but I don't know what Fury's head's at. You never know with him. He's just so.
Yeah, but the caller was right to bring up the judging. It's just there's so much going on. Thank goodness he reminded us because we got to call. I'm gonna dig up the names of these judges and bring it up either on this show if I have time or on the next one because we got to keep our knees on the back of these people's necks. These judges are ruining the sport, man. And what was it? Not the last week. The week before that, we had another awful decision, and I brought up the names. I think it was Cheatham. I forget which fight it was. Anyway, we got to get back to the phone calls here because they're piling up. And don't forget to make your points concisely, please. Concise, and because we can't be going back and forth here. We got a lot of phone calls and limited time. Let's go to 631. 631, you're on the air. 631, what's on your mind?
All right, yeah, so I guess I'll go through 3 of the fights kind of fast. So on the Shakur Stevenson fight, I don't think I learned too much about him. I guess, like, the size, I was surprised that he wasn't bothered by that at all. I thought Shiro, at the bare minimum, even though I think I misjudged him a bit, I thought he was a lot more physical than that. But maybe it just wasn't going to work on Shakur. I think his next fights I think the only fighters that are going to give him trouble at lightweight are Lomachenko and William Zepeda. Besides that, I think it's going to be a calm sweep through everybody else. And who else is on the card? Oh, yeah, Keyshawn Davis looked good. I saw the knee. I think that should have been instant point deductions at the bare minimum. That was pretty crazy. And it was intentional. Well, the first time I thought I saw it, I thought it was by mistake, but he kind of turned his knee a little bit to hit Yigit in the face while he was holding on to his legs. What else? And Jared Anderson, I disagree with Jimmy 100%. I don't think he is going to be able to fight the top tier heavyweight yet. I think he would lose to Andy Ruiz right now, to be completely honest. And Brandon Figueroa is just the CO. Oh no, my bad. Brandon Lee is just the CO version of Joey Spencer.
Oh,
and what do you guys think about what's it called? MJ losing, because I didn't see that fight.
MJ, yeah, well, okay.
I just don't know what happened.
Well, we'll talk about that. We're going to move on to a phone call and we're going to answer your question. So listen on the air because we do have to move on. But excellent questions, excellent points too about the Shakur Stevenson fight as well. Shout out to you, caller. Call back next time, man.
Good call.
Yes.
Hey,
I'll
did
say
you
this.
guys watch the Bam Rodriguez Gonzalez fight?
Yeah, but we're going to get to that later. We're going to get to that if we have time because so much going on right now.
But
when he's got calls lined up like that, guys, I'll just say, Alan, what happens? He's got a lot of calls and we've got to bang through them. So yeah, we're just going to chill back and try. That's why we try to interact as less as possible right now, so we at least take some of these calls down.
Well, thank you, Jimmy, for that. But he did ask this dude asked the question about MJ.
No, I know. I was just explaining.
Right. No, okay, yeah, no, I got it. But I'm just saying, MJ, he got exposed, man. I usually don't use the word exposed, but this was a guy that it seemed like he was going to be at the worst, that he was the number 2 or number 1 122 pounder. But then in his last 3 fights, he started looking a little bit too hittable. And then last night, I don't think he necessarily lost decisively, but he was just getting hit too much. And that's not, against the guys like Inoue and Fulton.
And he didn't fight. He didn't fight the first 6 rounds. He kind of you know what I mean? Almost like he was bothered to be there. So, yeah, he deservedly lost that fight.
Yeah, that was weird. Anybody else have any comments on the MJ fight?
The Filipinos needed a world champion. They had none. And crazy how all them dudes are left-handed, man. Yeah, that Tapales dude was pretty buff.
I thought his name was Tamales.
Solid.
It's Tapales.
Tamales or...
No, what was it, Tapales or Tamales?
I think it's Tapales.
Okay, because I thought it was Tamales.
Sorry. I was going to say, now we know why he avoided Fulton like the plague.
I don't know if it was because of that, but I mean, it certainly, I can tell you that I would have, based on this fight, I would pick Fulton now if they ever fought. That's for sure.
Oh, yeah.
And he knew it. Just
Absolutely.
These guys are way too quick for him and his lethargic defense.
One time I saw BDA, real quick, I saw a Filipino dude. He was like 5'4". He threw 2 sacks of 50-pound, 2 50-pound sacks of rice on his head. And he was just like wearing sandals. Like nothing.
All right.
Them dudes are these dudes are physically strong, man.
They
the
are.
Filipinos, that's what I was alluding to.
I've said it before. This guy had fucking Filipino calves. They all have big calves over there in the Philippines. I don't know what they have in the genes, but that evidently it makes for big calves and power too, because of that.
Now, is he a PBC fighter? He might have just stole the belt, because I think Sean Knucklehead's been doing a lot of business with the PBC. I don't know if that's the case, but you always know when it's one of his fighters, because he'll make sure he gets himself some camera time.
That could be. That's a good point, man. But yeah, Tapales, good. There's another fighter from the Philippines. There's another fighter from the Philippines called Joey Quesadilla. I don't know what it is with the names, they're all Mexican food names. All right, let's go to another phone call here. Again, be succinct, be concise, be compact with your points, because we do have a lot of phone calls here. Let's go to 347. 347, you're on the air. 347, what's on your mind?
Gentlemen, how are you today? Christos Anesti, which is Christ is risen in Greek. And I wish that for everybody, that you have joy and love in your lives, and a fair measure of joy going forward. I'd like to talk about Shakur Stevenson and Shakur Stevenson and why he is so effective. And we can talk about timing and how he gauges distance and so forth, but what's the physical aspect that makes it so? And I'd like to challenge anybody watching or listening, rather, to go back and look and see he adds an extra zone to his defense or offense, depending on whether you're coming forward. So if there are 5 zones around boxing, 5 being out of range, or the taller guy having an advantage where he can touch you and you can touch him, 4 being where you can both touch each other, 3 being true mid-range, 2 being hooking distance, and good hooking distance and good uppercut distance, and 1 being the Roberto Duran where he leaves, he gets a millimeter of space and is kind of bodying you, which he was the best at all time. If he sets up an extra zone, which is 6, what he does is he has his weight distributed on his left foot, his rear foot, and by doing so, anything that you can come forward to, in other words, this Yoshino guy last night was able to touch him at zone 5. In other words, they were equalizing their distances. So they're basically the same height or same reach. What he does by setting up zone 6 is he gives himself extra space to either for you committing to knock you out, or hit you rather, touch you where you can't touch him, or going backwards. So he's got a 70-30 weight distribution on his back leg. It also, by doing so, what happens is when he throws his right, it's always in contact distance, and he doesn't have to leave his stance and his balance point. And like somebody like Haney has to do sometimes, is leave his balance point. And this has a lot of future consequences. One is that a guy like, what's his name, Tank Davis, who's has an excellent leaping hook. It's one of his ways he closed distances very fast. He's got the best one since Marvin Hagler. Will have a very, very hard time executing one of his best weapons against a guy like Shakur. And his also second best area that he, what's his name, fights in, Tank fights in, is in zone 2. So he has an extra zone to get through. And Shakur is a master at zone 5 and a master at zone 2. So he's got a very difficult kind of range gap by a guy who knows how to use very good weight distribution. Once again, Christos Anesti, I wish you a fair measure of joy and peace going forward. Gentlemen,
right back at you. Right back at you. Very good caller. Thank you, and many blessings to you and yours. Really appreciate your call. I guess what he was trying to say was that Shakur Stevenson is trans-dimensional. And listen, I'll say this much: balance. He's very good on balance. I don't think has he ever been dropped, by the way, as a professional?
No,
I don't think so. No, he's never been. So,
can I do a quick take on Shakur's situation?
Absolutely.
The kid is an incredible talent. No one can deny that. You'd be an idiot to say otherwise, right? And I think right now no one has been able to surpass or even match his talent. So he doesn't need to go beyond that, which is why he 1-2s a lot of these opponents and does it, like he's sitting back watching, entertainment or something. It's nothing to him. It's gonna basically take someone that has superior rhythm, good defense, can close distance, can feint, can put a lot of tools in place at the right time to break this kid down. Whether that's going to happen as he steps up, I think that's the question.
Well, listen, Christopher Pitufo Diaz showed him some stuff there that made him think twice. Same thing with Nakatila. So I guess it's just, listen, people, I do agree that he's a great talent, don't get me wrong. But I also agree with the people that are calling in the chat that are saying, well, come on, listen, he beat up a Japanese punching bag. Let's not make it out to be as if he did this to Tank Davis or fucking Ryan Garcia or Vasily Lomachenko. But he will be hard to pin down because he doesn't move the head side to side. Like the caller was saying too, he's like he stays in the pocket, but at the same time he leans back and then pivots but while leaning back, which is something that you're not supposed to do. It's a weird style. I haven't quite seen anything like that in a while. So yeah, man, you're right though. It's gonna take some of the best guys at 135 to beat him. It's not gonna be these lower level guys that can put a combo together or have horrible footwork. You're gonna have to have your shit together. Excuse my language. If you want to beat this guy,
you're gonna have to be in the matrix.
That's right.
Yeah. Yoshino was a punching bag, VDA, because look at his face, man. His nose is all busted up. He looks like a catcher's mitt, dude. For a Chinese dude, they're supposed to have like the nice features. Dude's all fucked up.
Well, even when he fought the Japanese guy, what was the guy's name? Nakatomi? No, the guy that Lomachenko. Nakatani, yes, not Ito, Nakatani.
Yeah.
Nakatani. He was Nakatani was.
Isn't that the building from? Isn't that the building from that fucking Bruce Willis movie, the Nakatomi Towers?
Nakatomi. That's Nakatomi Plaza.
Pretty close.
Okay.
but Nakatani, now you confuse me. Nakatani, he was giving it to Yoshiro a little bit too. So it was a stay busy fight, and it was a fight that he needed in order to look good and to show that he could be explosive. By the way, fellas out there, hit the like. Hit the like. Really helps us out, all right? Let's go to the phone call here. We still got a lot to get through here. 470, you on the air. 470, what's on your mind?
Yo, what's up? Y'all can hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Is this Never Sober?
Yeah, bro. It's Never Sober from the Discord. I wanted to jump in here and holler at y'all about that top rank card because it was so obvious that these guys were giving a bunch of bums, like a bunch of look good fights. And I don't think they look that good. Keyshawn Davis, he was going in with this dude, Anthony Yigit, right? I think by the fourth round, when Rolly was fighting this guy Yigit, he was knocking him around the ring with shots. Like he was like scaring him with the shots he was hurting him with. And Keyshawn Davis, he seemed to have a hard time with this guy. This guy Yigit, I'm not saying he's a bad fighter, but I mean, Baranchek put him on his ass, and Rolly was throwing him around the ring. These guys didn't waste no time with him because this guy comes at you. Keyshawn Davis had a hard time with him. He was actually having like a boxing fight where these dudes were going at it. And Keyshawn ended up stopping him in like the 8th, 9th round. But that dude, he was saying he wants to ghost. What's that dude, Frank Martin? I don't think he'll beat him. But these guys are across different promotions. He's talking out his ass. He's not going to fight that guy, that PBC guy. I think Rolly would beat Keyshawn Davis is what I was trying to get at. And then this guy, Jared Anderson, he fought this guy. What's up?
No, go ahead, man.
Oh, and this guy, he fought the Marias, the Cuban guy. That guy obviously came in to take a dive. He was, the way he was fighting, that little peekaboo style, he looked kind of like Mike Tyson, but he looked like Mike Tyson trying to fight backwards. It was stupid, and he just was like, just doing some backup head movement until he got stopped in the corner by his people. That was a non-fight. I feel like if he came forward, he would have landed that left hook on Jared Anderson if he tried. Because I think Jared
He was
really
landing
open.
that
I don't
left
think he's
hook.
that good, bro.
Was that
Oh, was he? I didn't see it. It looked like it was
that left hook
glancing.
landed
It
a
looked
few
like it was
times.
glancing to me.
Well, I'll say this.
But and then go ahead.
Never sobers. Yes, go ahead.
No, you was about to say something. Go ahead.
Yeah, did you notice you kept calling him Keyshawn and Shakur by their first names? That's what they want you to do on ESPN. The commentators are calling these fighters by the first name. It's supposed to be on a last name basis to avoid any bias. They got you doing the same thing. You see, they didn't notice the conditioning, the programming.
Oh, yeah.
The MK Ultra programming.
You're right. No, but it don't work though. It don't work with me because fuck these guys. I don't fucking like them. The way they had them up on that podium for that press conference, bro. It reminds me of like all the retarded kids that they have at school that they don't let them eat unsupervised. So there's a separate table away from everybody where the teachers have to sit with them to make sure they don't like stick broccoli up their nose and shit. And they're right there just making jokes and we can run the school, man. Let us run the press conference. That's how they reminded me of, bro. I've seen a lot of guys like that. I don't like that. And but you're right though. They are trying to make everyone love these guys. And what did Shakur? What they're trying to talk about? What Shakur did to this Yoshino guy. I saw this Yoshino guy walking up to Shakur and fighting him on the inside and landing shots on him. I don't know if Shakur was just that confident in this guy having no power, but he was getting tagged up in this fight. And his power is non-existent. He knocked him down twice, but he hit him. He has good accuracy. He hit this dude when his foot was off the ground and his leg would drag and he'd fall. Right, that's what I saw for both of those knockdowns. I feel like he hit him when his leg was off the ground.
Well,
but
listen.
The stoppage was garbage. He landed he was landing shots here and there. This guy Yoshino was throwing back, and it wasn't even like Shakur was giving him a CTE inducing beating. It was like just trying to pop shot him here and there. And and I feel like what you're saying, BDA, they want to endear these guys to you. And they're like, oh my God, TKO, he's just stopping everybody. They said he had no power at 130, 126, but he's stopping guys. He's stopping world-class talent at 135. He's not that good, bro. That guy who's saying that he's so great, whoopie whoop, bro, they're matching him very fucking well against these fucking bums, bro.
Well,
Yoshino had no chance. He could fight him 100 times and not hurt him.
Yeah, listen. We shall see what happens there, Never Sobers. We shall see, man. But listen, thank you for the call. Very enlightening points, and call back next time, right, man?
To be fair, nobody's exactly running at Shakur right now.
Well, why would they? This guy misses weight, he hits in the balls, and then nothing happens to him. I'm not. Listen, I would like to see the fight. I would like to see people fight him, the top guys. But I understand why people from other promotional entities aren't clamoring to give their guys up to a guy that's gonna have certain A-side advantages. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's on fire, BDA. Never sober.
On fire.
And you know what? Freaking, what's this called? Timothy Bradley, man. He sounded a little too enamored with the performances. Maybe he's getting into them and he's enjoying the fights, or it's kind of suspect because he's supposed to be unbiased. And they were dominant performances against who, but he's a little too happy to get too emotional instead of objective, in my opinion.
You're right. You're right.
I was thinking that too. I was like, Tim is a company man. He pulls the line, man.
Yeah, that's why they gave him that spot as a commentator, even though he had no commentating experience. He played the game. He was good to Top Rank was good to him. He was good back to them. So you scratch my back, I scratch yours, that type of thing. By the way, shout out to Dennis F from Boston for his contribution to the super chat. He says, "Thank you, Keyshawn. Thank you." He says, "Keyshawn was frustrated, kicked the dude in the face after slip. Bradley showed replay of knee to the face, and then nobody said a word. Could have disqualified." Well, listen, that's just goes to prove my point that they got to do this thing with the fighters, man. They can't throw their A-sides under the bus. Not gonna happen. So shout out to Dennis F from Boston. It's business as usual with boxing. That's the way I'll put it. All right, let's go to another phone call here. Don't forget to hit the like. 949, you're on the air. 949, what's on your mind?
Yo, is that me?
That's you, 949. What's up?
Oh, all right. Hey, this is Zero. Cool. After the last caller said all he did right now, I have to definitely rewatch the ESPN fights. I was at the Fundora fight, and I was juggling the Zone and the ESPN, so I saw a completely different fight. But like I said, I wasn't fully focused on it. From what I picked up, Shakur, obviously, like, the smart move is not to go after one of the top 5 135s. It's you're going into new division, so you want to test out your skills or your power with somebody mediocre to, a little bit above average or at least average in Yoshino. I'm not sure if his power is going to fully translate or if it was just Yoshino, but he did, flash knock him out, knock down twice. That being said, he did what he had to do in that type of fight. That's what it was expected out of him. It wasn't like a top contender or anything like that. Shout out to Keyshawn Davis. He did. He also did what he had to do. But I was a little bit more impressed on the Jared Anderson fight, even though I do think he's subject to a lot of counters from like somebody from like Usyk or Royce. He definitely deserves to start fighting. A little bit better challengers. Same thing with Torres, Richard Torres. He's been good. He's been on fire. He's been trying to fight, every few weeks, every few months. Unfortunately, he got injured in his last fight a few months ago, or a month ago, or a few weeks ago. Sorry about that. That being said, MJ, he looked trash. I think Jimmy said like he took forever just to get started. So no wonder Taplas, or I don't know his name, the Filipino one. With that being said, I think that's just going to be a cleanup division for Inoue. Not that he's going to defeat Fulton ease, but that's going to be a great fight. But I do feel that Inoue will win Fulton and then will beat Taplas to become undisputed again. You got to give some credit to Bam. He didn't look as dominant or good yesterday, but he did fight through with a broken jaw, and he was stepping up to a new division, and unlike Shakur, like he went straight for the vacant or the top contender for the belt. So he's a 2-division world champ, and he keeps challenging himself. And 2 more points. That Fundora, he was using his jab not the way you should to set up, combinations. He was just throwing it at it. He looked lazy. It was a very boring fight, to be honest. But that knockout got everybody in the crowd going up. Brandon Lee had a lot of support as well. I thought that he lost a couple of the first rounds, but definitely I would have given him the split decision or at least a draw. And last but not least, the best, I guess, knockout that nobody's talking about because it wasn't televised, but I happened to be there because I was there live, was the Federico Pacheco versus Torres. Completely knocked him out. He was on the floor for 10 minutes. He had to get pulled out through a stretcher. That should be the knockout of the year. But just a shout out to everybody at the panel. Hopefully we get to see more good fights. I'm not sure if I heard in here or in a different place that a few days ago that it was possible that Ryan is injured. I just wanted to know if you guys have heard of that or have any further news on that.
Well, we'll see what happens, man. But I mean, we'll talk about that, man. We got to move on to another phone call there. But Zero Cool, good to see that you were at the fight. Hope you enjoyed it. I heard it was. How was the attendance? I heard it was like half empty. The Fundora fight.
It was half empty. There was, the only thing that was filled was like the bottoms, like the floor seats, and then half of the stadium was empty.
Wow. That PPC promotion there, certainly not paying off. All right, well, listen, Zero Cool, thank you for your call. We'll catch you on the next one, right, man? Take it easy out there.
For sure.
Yeah, even during at the end of the Fedora fight, the place was more than half empty. It was sparse, to say the least.
They got a guy in there that's undefeated, Hispanic, relatively entertaining, and this is the best they can do with the guy? I mean, come on. Let's go to another phone call here. Let's go to 856. 856, you're on the air. 856, what's on your mind?
What's up, VDA? What's up, Brother Jim?
What's up, man?
What's up, brother?
I was just looking at a couple, like some of the one. It was one of the callers, like he was bugging, like he was like, Shakur doesn't throw any dirt, like he's saying he has accuracy. Accuracy hurts. too, like it was just like for him just to sharpen up. Like, he's fighting no disrespect to like any Japanese descent or nothing like that, but all those Chinese and Japanese cats, like, they're inferior to the to those Thailand and those Filipinos, cause when it comes to combat sports, whatever. So it was just something for him to sharpen up. I think he improved. He was just showing what he learned, but he does got to get in the Lions Den soon. But I was more geared towards the Keyshawn and Frank Martin comments. Like, what you guys think about that? Because everybody, you guys covered everything else, but what would that fight be like?
Which fight? I didn't catch that. Which fight did he say?
Frank Martin versus Keyshawn Davis.
Oh,
he asked me.
Well, you guys go. You guys take that one.
No, I just got thrown off by the Japanese being inferior. I thought he knew he was like pound for pound number 1 or 2.
I was just thinking that.
He's a badass motherfucker. That motherfucker's badass like Bruce Lee.
Yeah. But I would about the question. No, just real quick about his question.
Go ahead, Jimmy. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna say real quick about the Frank Martin, Keyshawn Davis. That'd be a real good fight. I'd like to see it. The cross promotion would make it hard. That's why he dropped Errol Spence, because he's best friends with Bud Crawford. Bud Crawford doesn't throw flowers around much. He just isn't. He's one of those guys that compliment other fighters, even guys out of his own division. Mm-hmm. And he talks extremely high about Keyshawn. Spars him all the time, says he's tough as nails. He does. Yeah, I honestly, right now, there's things about Frank Martin. He's quick, but there's other things I saw him vulnerable on. So I'd say right now, if they were to fight, I'd go with Keyshawn.
Martin is the one that pieced up Rivera, right?
Yeah, that's him. Yeah. Yeah, they've been going back and forth on Twitter. Like that's what modern fighters do now. The Zoomers generation, they just go back and they bicker on Twitter back and forth, but they don't actually fight. Hopefully that fight happens. But caller, yeah, man. I mean, that's a fight that who would you pick in that one?
It's kind of hard. I'm a Frank Martin kind of guy. I mean, but like Keyshawn was showing some, Keyshawn's devastating. I mean, it's just endurance, like in the matter. He gets stronger during the fight, albeit against, like I said, inferior competition. But Frank Martin has a motor. I think he's a more talented boxer. But like sometimes talent doesn't beat. Keyshawn's tough. Like he's tough. That's all I'm asking you guys. But if I had to pick, I want to pick Frank Martin, but I might pick Keyshawn. I'm talking about stoppage, probably 9th, 10th round.
I mean, listen, I gotta call you guys out on this shit. Everybody here, you keep referring to Keyshawn Davis as Keyshawn on a first name basis, like the guy. Imagine if that's how I start referring to Juan Francisco Estrada. Instead, at least go with the nickname Gallito, right? I wouldn't call him Juan Francisco. Hey, Juan Francisco, he's my carnales, vatos locos for life. What's going on here?
Mr. BD, I do it because of...
No, you know what it is? You don't need to tell me. No, hold on. You don't need to tell me. You don't need to tell me what's going on, because I'm going to tell you what's going on. It's the conditioning. It's working on you guys. You're getting MK Ultra conditioned by these guys to be calling them by their first names. Get that out of your head right now. I'm going to have to deprogram you with the power of the Lord.
I do it because of Tank Davis. Because there's already a Davis. That's why I call him Keyshawn. I call the other kid Davis. So because of the two Davises.
That's a good one though. You got me on that one. But all the other ones, I will not no longer accept it. I'm gonna start calling people out on it. But go ahead, caller. Yes, what were you gonna say?
Oh no! I was just going to make one more correction. I say, he wasn't throwing the Crip sign. I was looking at a blog earlier today, so he's saying that's for his brand. It doesn't look too good for a brand thing, to keep it real with you, but he was, because it's for the three brothers, so he's throwing his three thing or whatever. So it's represent the three brothers, but like I said, it's not very corporate friendly. So yeah, he should change that. So, but that's all.
That whole three brothers things. I don't know. That sounds like some sort of cult thing. I'm gonna have to look into it, see what else is going on there, because the three brothers. I don't know. It seems very cultish to me. But listen, caller, good call. Call back next time, and we'll catch you in the next one, right, man?
Roger that. Take care, guys.
You too, man. Take it easy. Well, there you go. We cleared up a lot of things there. What else was I going to say? Oh, yeah, okay, so the Bam Rodriguez fight, that's the one we didn't have a chance to get to here. What did you guys make of that against Christian Gonzalez? Gave him a little bit more trouble than expected. What did you guys make of that?
Self-induced. Bam could have. If Bam would have fought, well, coming to find out after about the jaw, that explains some things from the 6th round on when his jaw got broken. Kudos on him, tough little fucker, to still hang in there and go into the pocket. But he brought a lot of that problem on himself. What's happening is he wants to be fan friendly, right? He really wants to put on a show. He wants to knock people out. And when you go for the knockout, that's what happens. Let it come, bro. You got the skills. Work your angles. He was headhunting. He didn't go to the body. Nowhere near enough with that kid Christian. There's moving to be a part of the thing, to like be elusive, and then there's moving not to be in a fight. That kid wasn't trying to fight. So that was ridiculous. But there's things he could have done. Definitely worked. But when you get a guy running like that, and that's what he was doing, you whack the shit out of his body. And Bam is an excellent body puncher. It was shocking that he wasn't going to the body. And I know why now with the jaw, because you leave yourself open when you hunt the body to get, checks. But that was all. It's because he come on, when you get a kid come on quick like that out of nowhere pretty much, even though a lot of people were talking about him. Steve was talking about this kid for years, but I think he wants to be a fan-friendly guy and he wants to go for the knockout. I guarantee you Garcia is telling him, in which he even mentioned, just let it happen, bro. Just let the knockout, it'll come. Do what you have. Use your skills, and you will knock him out. And if he would have used his skills and what he knows, he would have known to tune that little fucking runner's body up, and it would have taken his legs away. Because a couple of times when he tagged his body, is all of a sudden the kid got his back against the ropes. So I was surprised by that, and I didn't like the 1-2. Just where was the combination punching? Because he's an excellent combination puncher. So it was self-induced. I'm not putting it as a negative on his talent, because I still think it's there. But I think it was just him trying to play for the crowd. That's it.
Also the problem, Jimmy, that since he's so highly touted, he's got 2 jobs now. He has to win, and he has to win impressively. And when he underperforms, he gets a lot of criticism. So a unanimous win does not suffice to appease the people. And like this dude, the opponent Gonzalez, was moving way too much laterally because he got no power. So he's real good at running, obviously, because he can't punch. So, it's very difficult sometimes to knock out a guy that's only there to survive.
Well, that's why I give a guy like Inoue credit. That's why he's next level, because whether you stand in front of him or whether you run away from him, he will find a way to cut you down, like he did against Paul Butler. Some guys can't do that, and Bam Rodriguez showed that he's still not there yet. There was a point in the middle rounds where I thought, man, he's starting to wear him down with the body shots, and then just maybe Chris Gonzalez did something to change up the game or whatever, and that's what made Bam Rodriguez stop going to the body, but he stopped going to the body, and maybe it was the broken jaw or fractured jaw, because again, broken means, you imagine it as shattered. I don't know, who knows to what extent the injury played a factor in that fight, but apparently Sonny Edwards was the guy that he wants next. But Eddie Hearn said that depending on the injury and how much time it takes to recuperate from that, they might go with Sonny Edwards against Martinez, which is a
6 months.
Yeah, there you go. So, but based on what I saw last night,
jaw 6 months.
Yeah, but based on what I saw last night, I think Bam Rodriguez, I would favor him slightly over Sonny Edwards. Because Sonny Edwards moves very well, but it's only one punch at a time from his end, like Chris Gonzalez.
Lack of power, too.
Yeah, there's that, too. Although we've seen, like Teofimo Lopez or Sandor Martin, if the other guy's not willing to put more than 2 punches together, then it doesn't matter if the other guy doesn't hit hard. It's up to the other guy to take advantage of the other guy's lack of power. So Bam Rodriguez last night, I would have liked to have seen him stand in you know what I mean, Jimmy? Like pin him down on the ropes and stay on the inside. But he doesn't do that. He'll throw 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, and they'll step back and let the other guy circle around him.
Yeah.
He's not an inside.
I think fighting in his hometown too, Mr. BDA, young man, 23 years old. You're fighting in your own hometown. You're headlining. Like to Gonzalo's point, it's a lot of pressure. A lot of pressure to perform and look good. But what happens when you start trying to get the knockout, and Gonzalo can give a speech about how that's not what you do. You just do what your abilities are, and the knockout will come. And he'll learn that. I don't think it's. I'm still very highly impressed by Bam. I still think he's going to be a star for a while.
You think it's a question of, like you mentioned, the crowd. You think it's a question of him having looked so sensational in 2020 2022 that now he's looking for the knockout, and that's why the knockout doesn't come? Because he's actively looking for it. Yeah.
He's pressing for the knockout. Yeah, headhunting, pressing for the knockout. Especially when a runner, like you said, you run it, just go to the body. That's like, boxing 101. And he knew that, but he knew the kid didn't like getting hits, so he was just trying to go for those, the headshots. But he'll learn. He'll learn.
Hopefully.
But the problem also.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead, Brigadier.
No, go ahead.
No, it's just when you give up a fighter his flowers too early, they kind of become too spoiled. Look at Teofimo Lopez. The fighters that burn the brightest are the ones that die out the quickest. Right, yep. So they got this dude on a pedestal and they gave him his flowers way too early. So now every time he wakes up in the morning, he gets so complacent and used to everybody giving him credit that he has nothing to strive for. I think that kind of dims his willing to try harder every time because he already got the credit.
Well, that's
real quick. I'm picking Taylor over Lopez. What about you guys?
Ooh, man, yeah, I'm with you, but I don't think it's gonna be that easy. I mean, Taylor's not an outside. Lopez struggles with guys that keep him on the outside. Taylor is not an outside fighter, even though he's long. He's really a slugger at heart. So if he walks into Teofimo Lopez's wheelhouse, and Teofimo is a natural counterpuncher, could be trouble.
Is he still with that guy who used to sell gym memberships, Ben Davis?
No, he's with the fourth trainer, third or fourth trainer of his career. He switched again for the casual fight. Yeah,
that tells you he's looking to blame somebody else instead of his own. Yeah, Ben Davis was ruining that dude. So,
but what do you think about the Taylor fight, Lopez Taylor?
I don't know, because that last performance, man, against Catterall, and then he didn't want the rematch. I think it's a shame he didn't give that kid his rematch. He deserved it. So, yeah, I don't know. I really don't know. Lopez, again, they're both tricky, right? We've seen Lopez, man. That kid can fucking crack. He's got real good hands, but he's stepping up in size. So there's all these, little factors to figure in. It's kind of a hard fight to pick. I think I'm going to have to just look at that a little bit more before I give my pick. But going into it, I'm leaning towards Taylor. But I'll have to look more into it. Yes, sir.
Would you agree that the X factor with Lopez is we don't know which version is going to show up?
Exactly. Same thing with Taylor right now after that last performance. Then giving belts away. You know what I mean? How many belts has he got? One left out of the four of them? Like, just the way he moves. I don't like the fact that he says he's fine with fighting once a year. That tells me you're dumb. Like, what the fuck, dude? Fighting once a year? You think you're gonna... If you're fighting once a year, not only aren't you getting better, but your skills are diminishing as a professional boxer. End of story.
Yeah, and the fact that listen, he didn't fight the rest of 2022. So he fought in March 2022. He didn't fight the rest, so that's like 9 months, let's say, more or less. He hasn't fought this year or in April. So, but by the time he gets in the ring, he's going to have been out for a year and a half. Meanwhile, Teofimo Lopez at least has fought at least he got 2 fights in 2022. And, the Sandor Martin fight, he got some rust out of there too as well. I mean, he got the rust out against Campa, which, by the way, that Campa win is looking good compared to what Campa did to Brandon Lee last night. And against Sandor Martin, listen, Sandor Martin's a slippery guy. He'll make anybody look bad, or almost anybody look bad.
Yes,
I mean, I dare say, you put Shakur Stevenson in there against Sandor Martin, Shakur Stevenson is going to look bad. Telling you right off the bat. So I don't think
you're 100% right.
I don't think there's that much shame in having, but so Josh Taylor, man, there's a lot of points going against him in this fight. The fact that he hasn't fought, he's not going to have fought in over a year and a half. The fact that he might be receding. The fact that he's changed coaches again for the 4th time or 3rd time in his career. I don't know. And the stylistic matchup too. I'm picking him to win, but I'm giving Teofimo Lopez a lot of chances in this one. That's for sure.
Mr. BDA, let me ask you, are you picking him to win because of the emotional instability of Lopez? Are you basing that solely off skills or because of Lopez's penchant to be a mental case?
That's an excellent question, and I'll say it's because Teofimo Lopez just isn't that good either. He's a very limited guy. Okay. He's a limited guy. Let's face the facts. He doesn't chase guys down either. And he's not the biggest combination. He's a one punch at a time type of guy.
Yeah.
Whereas with Josh
I
Taylor,
still say he's the luckiest guy in history to get a one-handed Loma.
Yeah, he leaps in with power, and sometimes that's a good thing because when he catches you at the end of the power when he's leaping in, he'll knock you out like a fucking tiger that's pouncing on you. But what if he misses? He gets off balance.
Yeah.
And he doesn't tend to, like you said, BDA, follow it up with one of the one-punch combinations. Because he's got to get his feet under him again. So it's one of those things, man. He's good. But, I mean, like Josh Taylor, man, he's got real good wins. But you could break those up, too, like in criticize his performances against Ramirez. He couldn't knock the guy out, and he kind of cheap shotted him. When he got the first knockdown, Ramirez wasn't the same, but a win's a win. He became unified. He was hurt against... the Belarusian dude.
But
I forget his name. The guy Boranchik. He was hurt with him, and the guy that moves that turns on a dime. What's his name? The boxer dude, the Ukrainian dude. That was an easy performance. Victor Postal.
Oh, Postal. Yeah.
Yeah. But nonetheless, man, he's got a good resume. And that Catterall performance, dude, I'm just saying, man, he's kind of a wishy-washy dude himself. It's hard to pinpoint, but nonetheless, like I said, his resume is good, and the progress when it's solid. But you know what? It was a close fight too, BD.
It's true.
It was a close fight. Could have gone either way.
That progress.
Gonzalo. Oh, sorry. Go BDA.
No, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, have you noticed with all these guys, excuse me, you see them, it's coming out of their prospect to contender to where they're now champion status, and it's almost like you see them drop off because once they get past that, once they enter into contender status, you go to BoxRec, you look at it, they're fighting 3-4 times a year, right? 7 the 6 rounders, the 8 rounders, right? And they look so much better, and then all of a sudden when they get up to because Taylor, yes, but he has a good resume, but he has a small amount of fights, right? It's under 20. So what happened? He was fighting a lot, keeping his stuff sharp, his skills sharp, and then once he got those wins you rattle off, all of a sudden he went to a one-time-a-year fighter, and you've literally watched his skills diminish. That's right. I just cannot stress how important it is to fight when you're a fighter.
That's an excellent point, man, because Teofimo Lopez has what? Barely 20 fights in his career, I think. And Josh Taylor, I think.
And he looked better as a contender. Right? Didn't he look better as a contender?
You're right, man. I mean, listen, I'm looking at it here. Okay, here we go. Josh Taylor has 19 fights. Now, again, it's like the Lomachenko thing. It's quality over quantity. But so we can cut him some slack. But Teofimo Lopez really just stepped up to the plate 3 years ago. He's got 19 fights, 18 wins, and 1 loss. He really only stepped up against when he fought Okay, let's give him the Magdalena win. So yeah, it's only been about 4 years that he's been fighting decent opposition. Tatel, Nakatani, Komi, Lomachenko, Kambosos, and even then he wasn't. I mean, 2021 he only fought once. 2020 he only fought once. Again, that was because of the pandemic, but still he only fought once. So look at this, Jimmy.
And that's in even track. That's what's that?
To your point, he fought 4 times in 2019, and then what happened? Once 2020. Once 2021, twice 2022.
And his skills at that point started going down, especially for a counterpuncher, right? It's important. I'm telling you, you watch with all these guys. Once they become a one-time fighter, from Errol Spence, Gervonta Davis, all of them, you see their skills diminish. I mean, Spence was at his best when he came off, when he was fighting, when he was still entered contender status. But once they enter championship status and they're a one-time, maybe once every 10-month fighter, you just see them diminish. That's right. Why. That's my opinion anyways.
It's true.
I thought he was going to rematch Catterall. Did that get called off again?
Yeah, that was a shit show. It was, first he didn't want to. He said he didn't need to. Then he said he would, but at 147. Then it was 140. Then he started dropping his belts. And then this year, he got injured. Taylor did. And then instead of saying, okay, I'll fight you once I get over my injury, now it's, we're going to fight Teofimo Lopez. I think that's Bob Arum saying, you know what, or Top Rank, I should say, saying, you know what, Taylor might be finished, or he could be on the downslide. Teofimo Lopez hasn't been looking good. Let's match them up together and create a fire. You know what I mean? Because right now the flame is dimming for both guys. So they're thinking whoever wins that fight, they can restart the flame. If Lopez wins...
a lot more cash, too, involved in that fight. It's going to be a lot more views. Lopez, opposed to what, that other fight, which I didn't even watch live. That's how little interest I had in that first fight with Cantrell. So...
Yeah, man.
Yeah, they're gonna bill it the guy that reaches undisputed 2 times the quickest.
Exactly.
And, the Scottish dude for a guy that's always wearing like the checkered clothing, the trunks, and even on his day off he's wearing that flat shirt that's like squares.
Yeah,
kind of like the flag. No, I forgot what you call that pattern, but yeah,
like the Ken Buchanan. Yeah.
Oh yeah, by the way, he died, didn't he? Rest in peace, Ken Buchanan.
Yeah.
His mentor.
That was a while back, man. Yeah, shout out to Ken.
He looked the worst in the country. That was a bad performance over in Scotland. I don't know, man. It's weird.
What were you going to say, Jimmy?
BDA?
Yes.
I was just going to say real quick, because it's on my mind. I just got to say, Mauro Ranallo, the bipolar rock and roller, keep going on, and those guys, just all of them over fucking Showtime, referring to Garcia Davis as the biggest boxing event of the year. Like, it's just starting to really fucking boil my ass. It just, shut up. Just shut up.
Well, I mean, it's just
not.
Be, right? It's not.
What's that?
It's who I gotta ask respectfully. Who is it then? What's going to be the biggest event?
I think Canelo. I'm saying biggest wise. What does biggest mean? If you're talking about numbers, I think Canelo, if he fights twice this year, he wants to fight, and then at the end of the year, depends on who he fights, will be a bigger fight. There's still, if Usyk fights, depends. It's just. But if you're talking about overall status to the thing, it's not even for a belt unless we're really everybody concerned about who's the greatest 136-pounder. I mean, it's a fucking kid who's avoided being in any kind of real fucking opposition for 6 years against a guy 1 fight removed from prospect status, who's a social media dude, but is he's a fighter. But I just don't like it, and I don't. It's because, listen, fucking. I know he claimed his, mental status, whatnot, but he avoided fights. Garcia avoided fights. You know what I mean? He turned down fights and shit, and he's been inactive. It's been over a year since he's fought. I don't like it. I just think it's silly.
I mean, I get what you're saying.
Fight viewership wise, but that's where it ends.
I get what you're saying because I hate it when they try to hype something up and they go on and on about it. It does become very what's it called? Annoying. But I will say, though, this fight, for me, it is big because it's 2 guys that, at least with the Zoomer generation, they really appeal to them. But also because this fight, there's larger implications at hand. This isn't just a fight between Ryan Garcia and Tank Davis. This isn't just a fight for money. It's a fight for something larger. The forces of good and evil. Okay? There's principalities right here. No, I'm kidding. I'm not kidding. Listen, I can expound on this more on Second Renaissance. But
and there's also the blacks versus the Mexicans. VDA, who you rolling with? Just kidding.
No. I'm not kidding.
This is for all the Mexican paleteros that the blacks just beat up.
I mean, it's for the paleteros partly. Though God bless them. I mean, listen. All I'm saying is there's more at stake here, and I'll be listen. Yeah.
I was just going to say it will be interesting to see how Goosen prepares Garcia for this fight. Like if I were trying to get inside his head, I think I'd have this tall, long kid stay on the back foot, right? Use the jab, force the shorter guy to come in, right? Which he doesn't do because he's a counter puncher, and time him. Just time him with that left hook, and then see if you can land it.
That seems to be that a lot of
the
people
motherfucker is losing rounds to Rolly Romero. I mean, come on. No. Like losing rounds to him. So Goosen, I'm positive Goosen has tried to tell him what to do, has trained him to what to do. Whether Garcia will do it will be a different story. You know what I mean? You can implement things that whether your fighter carries it out will be a different story. But I'm fully believe the Goosen, he's an excellent trainer, knows boxing, and knows what to tell him and what to do to be. Let's just see if he does it. But he definitely has the ability to, because of the size, and he's got great power. And you're right, though, Mr. BD. I'm not going to fucking pull punches. Davis is an evil little fuck. He really is. He's a piece of shit. The shit he says, the fucking attitude, what he did with that pregnant girl. I can't get behind that kid. Like, why would I? He's just not a good person. I've said it before. Within 2 years of his retirement, he catches a huge case. Huge.
You can't get behind him, but I tell you what, though, he would love to get behind you. He does. Adrian Broner. He gets behind Adrian Broner. He gets. That's why I'm saying this fight. I'm telling you, there's larger implications here, man. And it's like that infamous quote. Because I mean, some people don't like it, but it is what it is. We do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the cosmic powers over this present darkness, against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly places. By the way, shout out to Never Sobers for his contribution with the super chat. He says, every time Shakur landed a shot, Tim goes, whoo! Yeah. What's that about? And Alfredo Contreras said, every time Shakur landed a shot, Timothy Bradley's pussy got moist. I mean, his fucking asshole got, like IPFP says, his asshole gets moist. I mean, this guy, he doesn't have the same energy for Vasil Lomachenko, though. You notice that?
Tim had the pom-poms out.
Yeah. And I like Tim Bradley as an analyst. I think he knows his boxing, breaks it down, but there's no denying it. No denying it. What ethnicity he rolls hard with. That's not even, and he's got a white wife and shit, but yeah, no, there's no mistake, and he's not doing it. Every time fucking Lomachenko does something, he would give him his flowers, but not to that degree. Without a doubt, it's obvious. I at least I like that about Andre Ward. Doesn't do that. Yeah. But he can be a petty little fuck himself too. He says about Canelo.
He was basically scolding Piggott, like saying, "Watch what's gonna happen. Watch what's gonna happen." And I'm like, "What are you, like Davis's dad or something?" Like, just commentate, man.
That's funny. Exactly.
Well, I tell you what, though, that's what happened there. Hey, by the way, before we go, shout out to Kenshiro Taraji. I mean, he was supposed to fight La Bomba, but he pulled out at the last minute because of some sort of bacterial infection. So they had to put him in there against an undefeated guy that only had 5 fights, I think. And Taraji just, blasted him out 9 rounds, dropped him twice, I believe. So shout out to Kenshiro Taraji. That's another guy that's not getting enough credit. He's in his peak right now, physical prime, 31 years of age. He just beat, in his last fight, he beat, what was the guy's name? Kyoguchi. Oh, yeah. I was wrong in that one. I was convinced. It actually screwed me over for a couple of months because it made me doubt all my picks afterwards because I said, man, I was convinced Kyoguchi was going to beat him. So shout out to Kenshiro Taraji. Yeah. That's another dude right there that comes to fight.
Hey,
well, listen. Yeah.
Hey, DDA, when you mention sickness right now, I thought about, hey, what's the deal with Virgil Ortiz, man? Is he done?
What happened with Ortiz?
He got the symptoms again for that. Yeah, the one infection or whatever was plaguing him. That's like the condition.
Bro, I looked it up, man. Your muscle is literally disintegrating, man, and going into your bloodstream, bro. It's some crazy shit, bro. I was like, wow.
I don't know how true it is. I heard it had something to do with you might be overtraining, like just sparring and always just doing. I don't know how true that is, but it's a shame, man.
Could it be that he throws so hard that he ruptured the muscle that way?
Could be.
Well,
it's not a natural thing to punch things, so.
Blair Cobbs, who was told to stop casting aspersions on him, because Blair Cobbs made some comments last year, I believe, where he said, it's PD use. And I think they threatened to sue him or something. Something happened where he recanted his statements. But he was right now again, when Ortiz again dropped out of this one, this fight, Cobbs came out again and said, it's PD use. So I'm thinking, this guy's fucking insane. Maybe because he's no longer with Golden Boy Promotions, so he feels like, hey, man, what are they going to do to me? But he can still get sued for defamation. So I don't know, man. It's weird.
Yeah, he's reckless.
I just when he comes back, they got to match him correctly. They can't put him in a big fight. He's been out of the ring too long. Again, another kid I'm so high on and it's a shame because he's by far, in my opinion, the hardest puncher in welterweight division. And after another fighter who's fighting so infrequently, it's affected his abilities. The kid from the PVC, the one who signed to Showtime, Boots.
Right.
Like I thought it might have been a 50-50, but after the last performance, I think Ortiz could stop him.
Yeah, Ortiz is a predator at work, and I'm telling you, Jaron Ennis, if he wants to get better, he could learn a couple of things from Virgil Ortiz. There's no shame in watching a fellow fighter, a contemporary, his fights to learn a thing or two. You know, get some more tools under his belt, because really the guy that Ortiz is he's been fighting, so he's been matched up very well, and he's just improving. Whereas Jaron Ennis is, over there with the PBC, they just stagnate.
Yep. Yeah, why don't they do like the great middleweight? He was defensive fighter. Tommy, no. Oh my God, what was his name? I'm having. What's that?
From what era? What are you talking about?
The 90s and to the 2000s. Tony, the black dude, the defensive. Thank you, brother, James Toney. After he'd fight on HBO or whatever big platform, he'd go fight on an off thing, like wasn't even televised, just because he knew, like I need the fight. He'd go fight 2 and 3 times off camera. Didn't even care about the money, just give me the fights. That's what fucking these guys should be doing. If there's a local fight, yeah, I'll take it. I don't give a fuck. Whatever, $10,000, get me in there to fight. Because this is hurting their careers. We're watching them deteriorate literally in front of us.
Yeah, you know what? That's an interesting thing you mentioned. He's deteriorating like Virgil Ortiz's muscles. There's a parallel there that somebody, maybe some writer could come up with some story based off of that. But that's an interesting, Jimmy, that you pointed out.
Fought 4 minutes. He fought 4 minutes in 2022. In 2021, he fought 1 time. And then he fought 4 minutes last year, and he hasn't fought this year.
I'm sorry, who's this?
Yeah, Boots Ennis.
Oh, yeah.
So,
well, I got to tell you, man.
I heard they're still trying to save the matchup with Stanionis. So, step up, bro. Fight Stanionis.
Well, of course, yeah, man. I mean, that's the fight. That's the fight that's probably going to happen. They were talking about maybe they were going to fight a tune-up or something. I mean, I don't know. But listen, fellas, we got to go, man. I got to set up, for some reason, that the event I set up for Second Renaissance, I have to reset it. Some fucking shit happened here. But shout out to you, fellas. Always appreciate you jumping on. And I want to give a shout out to everybody. Like I said, Jimmy, Gonzalo, Alan R., everybody that called in, everybody that donated with the super chat, everybody that listened here. I'm talking about I Am Your Leader, Campos Vasquez, Larry Lopez, Super Sardonic. Your day is coming. I think that's Fighter Spirit. Fighter Spirit, you got to come back to the fold, man. I don't know what you thought we said, like me and over at What Rep It 2. I think I think it's over the Benavides Canelo thing, but who gives a shit? It's only boxing, man. You got to come back to the fold. Especially now when Ryan Garcia, Tank Davis is coming up. We're going to need everybody we can get for the battle ahead. Shout out to Two Matadors.
And hit the like button.
That's right. Hit the like button. Shout out to Campos Vasquez, Let Me Ace, King KO, Timothy Figueroa, Larry Liston, Warp Speed, Arkham Inmate, Little Mac, Tyson Punch out, the Quags. Shout out to the Quags and everybody, the rest of everybody. Shout out to you guys. Happy Easter Sunday. Again, we're going to be back. I'll be back rather. I don't know if you guys are going to jump on too. We're going to talk about the Passion of the Christ. And let me actually put the link here to our Rumble channel so you guys can check it out.
Sounds interesting.
Absolutely. So there you go. So that's the new Second Renaissance Rumble channel right there. You can say whatever you want over there.
So when you're rattling off the thanking these guys and the things like Never Sober, else it's like it sounds like you're saying a bunch of heavy metal death bands. Like some of these names are so interesting. It's fucking funny. These guys come up with good names, man.
There you go. You're right, man. I mean, look at Super Sardonic.
They're like all little death metal bands. But guys, leave a comment too. Even if you want to say fuck you guys or just emojis. It affects the algorithm. It gets eyes on. And because this channel, and it's nothing to do with me, anything I say, it's Mr. BDA. Check out that if you haven't seen it. Even my wife watched it. We watched it again last night with my wife, and she was blown away. The documentary, the best of most shocking moments of 2022. Absolutely unbelievable, like professional. That shit could be shown on HBO tomorrow. Absolutely unbelievable work by Mr. BDA, and it deserves it's got over 400,000 views, and it deserves everybody in the sport who likes boxing needs to see this because top quality work. And I just wanted to say that.
Is that linked in the comments too?
It's in the. Go to YouTube. Just go to the channel, bro. It'll come up. It'll probably show because it's got so many views, over 400,000, and going every day. I go to it, and it shows more. But I want it because it's an hour and a half, so I needed to make sure there was time I could just pay attention to it, and it was great music, editing, fucking funny, and just hit it out of the park. I was literally blown away by it, and I just recommend who hasn't seen it, please see it, leave a comment. And
thank you, Jimmy. That's good praise indeed, right there. That's good praise. I don't know what to say to that other than thank you. Hope you guys enjoy everything we do over here. Thank you so much for your contributions, your support. We're gonna keep rampaging against the forces of evil, and of course talk boxing in between. But don't forget, we're going live in 15 minutes. Rumble, talk about the Passion of the Christ, a retrospective about everything surrounding that, the release of that movie. Why didn't they want it released? What was so controversial about it? We're gonna talk about Mel Gibson too, as a person, his religious views, just a lot of things to go through. I'm gonna get some coffee, first time in years. So shout out to you fellas. Thank you for watching. Catch you in the next one, fellas. Take it easy. Thanks for watching.
All right. Happy Easter. Bye.
Alan, hang on.